Here we go. Wednesday evening, Humpty edition of Outlaw Radio. Men of color, people of color, I should say, is the name of the show tonight. Welcome aboard. My name is Kevin Barnes. I am the militant with a microphone, mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. I'm in the building for another edition of Outlaw Radio, as we do on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time until whenever we choose to cut the machine off. I'm not alone. I got my co-host here with me, Mr. Ian C. Jordan, the fact checker himself. What to do, Ian? What's popping with you?
Man, it's going good, man. I just put something in the People's Network about I saw on Fox News their opinion. Now they're saying that Republicans, much as they hate President Obama, they said Trump and the Republicans need to use this playbook going into the midterms in November. I love it, man. I hope some MAGA people call in tonight, because it gets better.
Absolutely. Variety is the spice of life.
Yes,
I want y'all to be able to participate in the conversation. We do have a chat room that is very, very active all the time. Everybody who rocks with the show knows the chat room is always popping. Dion is in there early. He said Trump 2028. And he's asking me where I was because we was a little late to kick it off. But we also have a phone line that's attached to the show. That phone number is 262-202-5131. That's 262-202-5131. You can always call in and voice your opinion as long as you respect the platform. So we make this thing move. I have a lot of Outlaw radio supporters out there who hit us every week, so we know who the usual suspects are, but I welcome that. I welcome the interaction. So hit us up, 262-202-5131. I want to send a prayer up for the people in Gary, Indiana, and was it northwestern Indiana, where the floods were. And so you hadn't heard a lot about this. I just happened across it via social medias. I don't know if it's because these are, Gary, Indiana is a large presence of foundational Black Americans there, but they don't have power. I'm hearing that they don't have fresh water. So, and I didn't know that the flooding down there was so severe. So prayers up to them. But other than that, man, how y'all doing out there? I hope this week is going well for you all. I hope everything is on the up and up. We're just going to try to do a little entertainment, a little enlightenment, and a little education tonight, as we always do, man. Ian, how's your week been going so far?
Man, it's been going good, man. Everything's beautiful. The weather, just trying to grow and build the LLC, learn more things, dude, I swear, man, I don't know how you are with tests and everything, man, but I'm taking this Microsoft AI cert, and I don't know. They make you take all these labs and stuff. I just don't get it, man. And I got a homeboy. We trying to, within the next 36 months, want to buy like a semi truck and like do different shit. And now I'm looking to study for the CDL shit too. Bro, ain't none of this. Hey, it ain't easy trying to get to where you want to get to. But other than that, man, the week is great though, man. What's been up with you though, man? You straight? Everything good?
Everything is lovely, laid back like a fat rat. I don't do much, man. My life is so laid back and low key. So, I mean, I stay out the way. I just been chilling, man, just trying to collect information, trying to learn, trying to strengthen my brain, trying to strengthen my faith and my spirit up and my resolve up, and not get down and out by a lot of the stuff I see. A lot of negative news and information that comes across, especially when you're on these social media sites and the web. There's a lot of activity. I've been paying attention to the Tupac thing. Just trying to maintain, man.
Hold on, KB. You saw Mob James testify? That was wild.
Testify, which I thought was very crazy. I think Mob was trying more or less to keep the snitch tag away from himself. It felt like he was trying to make sure that the follow-up wasn't that you took the stand against his brother. And I hear like Suge Knight saying, I won't testify. And all these people are saying they won't testify. They won't testify because it's a no snitching rule. First of all, this is 30 years ago.
Thank you.
Like some of y'all is in y'all 60s. And if you get when you get subpoenaed to go to court, if you could perjure yourself or be held in contempt of court, you could really do time. But it's just amazing to me how this no snitch culture has kind of grabbed a hold of everybody, and people are saying, well, I'm not going to tell. First of all, he told on himself. He wrote a book about it. He did countless interviews. I'm just like, wait, what you mean you ain't gonna tell? He talked on himself. Like, yeah, I'm not sending. Mob James was saying, well, I'm not gonna send him to prison. Send him to prison. You are. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's just amazing, man.
Hey, I got some family members, KB, that's just retired, but they was out there. I still refer to them like privately in settings. I would never just be like, "Hey, what up, OG?" But when you just talking, you see somebody you ain't seen, it's a couple of y'all. You might refer to them as that. I had two of my OG cousins. They had me on the floor laughing. This was years ago. They was like, they didn't even, first and foremost, they didn't even know who Keefe D was. They had no idea who he was. And then one of my cousins actually bought a book. I believe it's called Compton Street Legend. He bought the shit. He said, dog, he was like, he said, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think murder has a statute of limitations or conspiracy to commit it. I said, I don't think so either. And fast forward 5-6 years later, bro, he's going to jail for that for a very long time. He's not beating that. No matter what these people think, he don't have enough money to beat it, bro. I mean, if R. Kelly in jail.
If I can put up a video that you put on the internet of saying, yeah, so I turned the car around and yeah, we seen him and I turned around, I busted Yui. And
that's exactly what he said.
If they can put a video of me telling the entire story, how in the hell do I not go to jail? Like you would have to have Johnny Cochran and then some on your like I don't it's and then for other people who are subpoenaed to testify,
yeah,
it's like, well, I'm not gonna say nothing because I'm not no snitch. Have you seen the video? Have you seen the book? Have you seen the book? Like it's just like,
hey, from James's perspective, though, bro, the one thing I do see where he's coming from, not the snitching thing. They was trying to make him kind of like, because he wasn't there. They was trying to get him to like, what was motherfuckers talking about? And that's what he didn't want to do. But yeah, they was trying to twist it a little bit. And even the lawyer looked at him confused, like, remember the look that Martin Bashir gave, Ed, what's his name from 60 Minutes gave Michael Jackson when he was like, hey, Mike, it's not good to have children in your bed, right? You won't do that again, right? And he's like, it's the most positive thing in the world. And he looked at it, and Ed looked at him again like, let me say this a different way, Michael. You know what I'm saying? That's how the prosecutor was looking at dude. He was looking at him like, bro, do you realize, dude, you can go to jail for not saying anything? He admitted he knew more than he said. James is crazy, dude. They wild, dude. He gonna go to jail for that shit too, dog. That's perjury.
I don't know what he lied about. I didn't watch enough of it. I've seen snippets. I didn't watch enough of it to see if he lied or anything. Because when I heard the questioning about, were you guys rivals? Yes. Do you know him? Yes, I know him. But if he wasn't there when the shooting happened,
yeah, he wasn't.
So it's just been just crazy. But people are being exposed, man. Let me go to my chat room. I see y'all in the chat room. Brendan Hayes
in here early.
What up, Brendan? Brendan is a major contributor to the People's News Network. Surely appreciate that, man. How you doing, my brother? Dion said Trump, he did it for us. I have no idea what you're talking about, Dion. I have no idea what you're talking about. Earl Henning in the chat room, he said, what it do, my brothers and sisters? Fuck Donald Trump and his friends. No name today. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being strategic, Earl. I really appreciate that. Albert Bell, one of my old school homies, what it do, Al? He said on deck. He said, so after I kill Biggie looking ass fellas, not y'all them damn fools. What? Al, you got me on that one. Twisted on that one.
So after I kill Biggie looking ass. What? I love it though, because I kind of know what he getting at. Because like Suge and them dropped the bag on Biggie. So yeah, it makes sense.
Said and Diddy is innocent flat out. And then Albert Bell says R. Kelly definitely guilty. R was like, y'all trying to kill me.
Y'all trying to kill me.
There's another one, but it's not as like okay. So there was a video, right? We don't know to this day. A lot of people
Y'all
say
trying to kill me.
I'm talking about the pissing video, way back in the day,
Oh, I
which
never saw that. Never saw that.
which was running through the hood, and it was a bootleg copy, and everybody had it. And I can honestly say I saw it once with the homeboys, and I never seen it again, because it was just it was just too much for me. But a lot of dudes watched it over and over and said, "Man, that was him. That was him." I know he said it was his brother, which is
He's silly.
but his ass still went to jail. But I'm just saying, Keefy D said. I remember the first years back when I first seen this whole thing pop up, and I seen Keefy D, and I was listening to him, and I was just thinking to myself, "What a dumbass person! How stupid are you? If you did this, and supposedly this is something that's well known on the West Coast, right? Like if you're from Compton or in that region, you know all about. Like you said, nobody knew who Keefy D was.
No, we didn't know who he was.
Even after he wrote the book, because the book, I didn't hear about the book when it first came out.
No, it wasn't like it was a New York Times bestseller. Like
now, there was always talk that Orlando Anderson was the one who did the shooting. Like we had always.
I knew who Orlando was because his name kept coming up, and like as far as on blogs and stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, he did it. All right, whatever.
Yeah, but we never knew. So
we never knew that.
All he had to do was sit on this. But in this day and age, the lust and the desire for celebrity and clout, especially if you've done anything in the streets. Like I know back in the days when I had my little episodes on the streets, the number one rule of the game was silence, right? Like, if we had been involved in some situation and we were sitting around and somebody brought it up, you always had 2 or 3 people say, "Hey, man, shut that shit up, man. Be quiet, man. You know what you're talking about." So nowadays, it's like I need to go and regurgitate the things I did 25 years ago, so people will look at me and say, "Oh, yo, he's a real one. He was a real street dude. He was a factor back in the days." And I'm so confused by it, like because what you done 25 years ago normally has no merit unless you got away with y'all hit a tremendous bank or bank robbery lick or something where you took home enough money to live with where you can go dip off that for 20 years.
Frank Matthews.
Right. That type of stuff. But now that'd be like Frank Matthews popping up right now, right? Saying, "Hey, what's up, y'all? Let me tell y'all how many millions of heroin I sold and how many people I had murdered who I was, my enemies." Your ass is going to jail. Like like why even have a trial? Just show him the video and say, because of this shit, we locking you up. Get your ass on the bus. It just don't make no sense, man. It's just stupid, man. Let me go to the chat room. Carrie Walker Jones, how you doing, my sister?
Stevie on it.
Oh man, one of the real outlaws out there.
Yes,
Albert Bell said, "LOL" at y'all response to my comments. I didn't get that. Ian put that together. I didn't get that one, Al. Like Biggie looking ass. I was trying to what? He said Keefy D is now Teefy D toothless ass.
Oh damn!
Oh man.
He getting comments of the thread. That's funny.
He said facts on silence topic.
Yeah.
Earl said when you play pussy, when you FYI pussy in the life, you can go to jail. No Diddy.
Oh my Lord.
I don't know. Is that FYI or did I read that wrong?
It's FYI. It looks like when you, for your information, pussy in life. Oh, pussy like you a pussy in life. You can go to jail. No Diddy. But he was saying he was calling somebody a pussy in real life, but no Diddy. I don't know.
I didn't want to give it to him. I give it
to myself for trying to interpret it. That was my fault.
Yeah, take a swing at it, bro. Kerry says he's all the rage now in prison. Be careful what you want versus what you need.
He got into a fight like a few months back. Yeah, he got into a fight up in there. I saw the video. He was fighting like a motherfucker.
Ian says, did you hear about Gary, Indiana? I think he said it's spelled Gray, but I think he means Gary. They don't have power. They haven't had power for 2 weeks. Yeah, I just talked about that.
Come on, man.
Just heard
2
about it.
weeks?
Yeah,
Damn.
man.
In America? Damn.
Yeah, well, you had a major flood. It's a disaster zone. Mama Jenkins in the chat room. She said, "Good evening, my outlaw family. Let's do what it do. The killings is on high, and the trees have failed.
Mm,
Listeners will learn tonight." She said, "Penn State with a question mark." Have you
mm.
heard? And this is crazy too. The
No.
the dumbest. This is okay. So I thought if you think Keefe D is the dumbest criminal, let's talk
One of
about these frat brothers down at Penn State. 13 of them, and I believe these are white boys. For their hazing, what they
Oh yeah.
decided to do to haze their pledgees was to make them bag and sell crack cocaine.
Somebody told me. I thought somebody was joking when they mentioned that to me.
No,
Yeah,
what?
apparently for real.
Now they definitely earned this. Please just go to jail. Just go to prison. It's not like there's no possible excuse. Like, and if you are a pledgee and you said, I want to be in this fraternity so bad that I'm going to do this, your ass is dumb and you need to go to jail too. Like, there's no frat that could have got me to partake in this at
Oh,
all.
they wasn't like doing chopped up soap or something. They was really selling crack.
This was, hey, Chichi, get the yayo. This was the real shit.
Hey man, bring crack back, man. Crack better than fentanyl, in the words of Boosie. Bring that shit back. I'd rather see crackheads than these fentanyl people.
Make crack great again,
Make
right?
crack great. That was funny when he said that, though. I ain't gonna lie, that shit was funny.
Crack great again.
Make crack great.
My boy Taco, what up, Talk? He said, I see you still going strong, big little bro, KBATK. Absolutely, man. We keep on going, Talk. You know how we do it, man. Shout out to you. One of my good friends, Taco, man. Taco Sword, man. Real dude from the another example of a real dude from the neighborhood, been out on the block, been around and back, and you don't hear him talking about it, making Facebook posts about, yeah, I used to do this, that, and the third. Matter of fact, unless you really get to know him very well, you won't even hear that from him in a one-on-one conversation. What you'll get from him is more discussions about God and trying to get saved and save your soul than anything else. Al said cocaine crackers. Oh my God.
That was good, AB. That was good. Cocaine crackers. That was good.
Yes, sir. Carl Pfeiffer, what it do, cuzzo? He says, so sad. Yes, sir. Another one of my family, my cousin actually, who you ain't gonna catch him running his mouth about this, that, and the third about whatever went down in the streets. And if you are the type that's loose with your lips around him, I've seen him tell people, hey man, shut that shit down. You don't know who listening to this shit. So this is the whole, what I'm looking at Keefe D, like, okay, you needed some money. Because I know he used to be this huge drug dealer.
Yeah.
And he had fallen off. And all of this started with him being jammed up for his heroin business and him snitching, but getting what they call a proffer agreement, which meant that he was under understanding that he told the police about this to get some gravity in his case. And that they said, well, you can't be prosecuted for this. But I guess there's parameters that you can't violate, or else it's no good.
And that's talking for the day after. You only get the shit is called Queen for a day. You only get it for like literally the investigation. You bring it up again, you violate it. That's why I don't understand. Like, I'm not going, because I ain't gonna say I trust police like that in that situation. But I know for a fact they explained that shit to him, KB. I know because Greg Caden and them, I've watched him for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, be retired and like break down cases and shit. Because he was one of the main dudes on the Tupac and Biggie case. And I was listening to him. He secretly recorded Keefe D for the record. He admitted that. But the thing is, though, he's very thorough, bro, is my point. And he do be explaining shit. So I know they explained that to him, dude. No way he didn't know that.
Huh? Even if they didn't, any individual with the brain power of an earthworm has to know. I can't go on Vlad TV and do 5 hours of interviews talking about
5 hours too.
Even the dumbest criminal knows there's no statute of limitations on murder. Like, so, and you should be aware of the fact that if I'm driving down the street with you and I see one of my enemies and I say, hey man, there you go, Ian, shoot that fool. And I turn the car around and pull up next to him and you shoot him, I'm part of that murder as well.
Man, conspiracy, accessory, all of it.
I'm an accessory, no doubt. So
Jesus
it's just
Christ,
so
that's
stupid.
bad, KB.
Hey man, this is an example of stupidity walking, right? Like if stupidity was a person,
Stupidity on steroids.
and I don't feel sorry for Keefe D at all. If he
I
gets
want him to go to jail.
he's in his 60s. If he gets 40 years, that means he'll never see freedom again. Because I want other dumbass criminals to learn from this. I want them to look at it and say,
I
"Oh man,
do too.
let me
They
see."
won't though, bro, because they be rapping like the new rapping shit. Like I noticed with a lot of it. Like I was listening to because my little cousins put me up on Dirk a few years ago, and I was listening to some of it because his beat sound good. But then when I started listening to the words, I thought that it was just music, and then my little cousin was like, "No, no, no, cuz that shit now they really be doing that." And then he sent me some videos on YouTube, and then I heard King Von and these motherfuckers killing people, and they rapping about them like, bro, they taking that shit to a whole nother level. Like, dog, when I was younger, you never like talked about shit. Like, if you notice, like, you never knew Hammer was a street dude. You never knew that because he was smart. You never knew Rakim allegedly sold drugs. You know what I'm saying? You never knew any of this. So that's just stuff I heard in the street. So it's just like, okay, you can't verify it. It adds to legend and myth. But Dirk apparently was doing murder for hires and they was rapping about it. And I don't think Dirk is dumb. I think he just silly because he got caught up in the shit. You know what I'm saying? He got caught up in the hype.
The whole drill rap, the whole thing about drill rap that made it different from gangster rap was that drill rap was them actually rapping about what they had just done.
That's wild shit, KB, to me. Still, I could never do it.
Wildest shit in the world.
I couldn't do it.
Al said fraternity Kappa Alpha Fentanyl.
That's a good one too. Hey, he need to write like cards, like greeting cards, and do some marketing. That was good, dude. Oh, he crazy as fuck.
Al is a nutty buddy. I trust me. I know him very well. Said LOL at being crackback.
He's stupid.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Carl Pfeiffer said on the real, cuz know what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm talking about. He and I can sit up for hours and hours and hours and talk about a bunch of stuff that has happened in the past. But we know damn well if there's somebody who we don't know or who's new and that either one of us just met, or if there's any recording devices around, that shit's not going on no YouTube page so we can look like
that shit dumb as fuck. Unless
from back in the days. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it with the stupidity, man. Earl Henny said black people for the win. Yeah, when they stop doing dumb shit. I love my people. I really do. That's why I call the show Men of Color. Because I'm a proud man of color, and I know we get into a lot of crazy subjects on this show, but I never want to talk down to my people, and I don't want to be overly critical. But if you a black person out there and you doing some dumb shit right now, I am not with I'm not with it. I'm not going to endorse it. I'm not going to cheer you on. I'm going to be the one to say, hey, brother, you probably shouldn't do that.
No, because not at all.
It is as stupid does. Kerry Walker Jones said everybody batshit crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of stupid. It's a lot of insanity going around right now. Albert Bell said Keefe D got cancer too. Sad he's 60 with a case. Man, oh man. Hey, well, maybe that's what he was trying to get money for some of his theory. I don't know.
He got 130K. That's not a lot of money after taxes.
Is that what he made?
Yeah, that's what he said. He was saying he got it. Then he said, because I'm thinking like, okay, if you got a ghostwriter, you probably got to throw him some change. And then on top of the ghostwriter, you got to pay taxes. Man, he might have risked it off for like $45,000.
60 at the most for now, whatever Vlad paid him. And I'm pretty sure Vlad has made way more than he made. And I've even heard Vlad taking credit saying he solved the Tupac Shakur murder. Like that's how he's like my show.
That's how much he talked on it. Yep, he did. I mean, he didn't solve it, but you know what I mean. He did. He had Keefe on there. Keefe told.
He put the person on there who said, "Yeah, we did this shit." It's like
he basically put Trump on there, the Black Crip Trump. He basically threw him on there because he run his mouth just like that motherfucker do.
Mama Jenkins said, "Dumb white boys," and the daddy was also helping. She said, "Well, 100 grams of fentanyl, 60 grams of cocaine, on 45th and Hampton. The Matthew family was in the business." Okay, I don't know. I didn't know nothing about that, Mama Jenkins. You lacing me up right now. You tying my shoes. I didn't know.
Mm-mm.
Um, Kerry Walker Jones said, "Did you hear about the Republican politician that pushed for the death penalty for pedos and got caught molesting his own grandson? Now he's up for the death penalty. He lobbied so bad for
Yeah, I
it
saw that.
that he got it. The irony. I didn't see that end of. Maybe I did because I
I
probably
heard about it.
probably scrolled past it. But I've seen a lot of lawmakers who have been accused and convicted of pedophiles, being pedophiles and doing pedophilic. I don't know if that's the word, pedophilia, engaging in pedophilia with young children. So I don't know what the deal with that is, but I have seen a lot of lawmakers who have been, and that's why I just keep scrolling because it's like another one, another one, another one.
Yeah, I don't understand it, bro. Like, and that's why like they be laughing. Like every time they say something, like we bring it up about you this party, because this party's kind of in power right now. So we bring it up. You have these idiots that constantly say, "Well, if Obama, if Biden, when he was in office, like, why do you care about that? As long as people that did wrong go to jail, one, and when it's an open investigation, you can't really talk about shit in the open anyway." I remember reading that too, and I had my lawyer actually told me that. He was like, "Yeah," and he a Republican, by the way, and he was like, "Yeah, dog." He was like, "No, Biden can't talk about shit that was in the open." There was like in the Obama administration, I guess in Florida, Epstein had went to jail. You know what I'm saying? For a little bit or whatever. So they did what they could at the time. Now all that shit is dead, no pun intended, as far as the the guardrails. Now all they got to do is just release the names, and they won't do it. That's why motherfuckers that constantly come on this platform and be talking about that shit, I'll be like, man, you so disingenuous. You making motherfuckers look at you funny because I can't be a man of God and support pedophilia, dog. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. It's wrong, man. And I don't care what nobody say. You can't say that you don't support pedophilia when you support a dude that got like 28 fucking rape allegations against him and lost and was found guilty of being an adjudicated rapist with E. Jean Carroll. Like, it's weird to me, dog.
Rape with her, I think it was sexual assault. And so there's a difference between rape and sexual assault, but I mean, it's still
Yeah,
some.
he used his finger. They was saying, and I read up on that too. They said during the time it was defined differently. So that's what Trump, that's how come he did that. He was able to get it called sexual assault. But yeah. But you're right though. You ain't wrong about saying it's sexual assault. But far as what he did then, like if he did it now, it would be rape. Yeah, that's wild, man. Whatever.
Kerry Walker says Republicans. Earl Henning said America is full of them old white men in the room with little girls, well, little boys too, I guess. Apparently,
I love that sound.
now we see some of the latest news we see here, and this report is kind of convoluted. It can be confusing, but it was reported by the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel that Milwaukee Public Schools is under federal investigation, right?
Yeah.
And so the headline and the journal, I don't know, man. The journal, as for journalistic integrity and quality, sometimes their reporting can be very muddy. Like it's like we want you to read this and we want you to read our paper, but then when you start reading what the article is, you're like, um. So MPS is supposedly under investigation for using race to determine disciplinary policy. Okay. Now, I talk about this because we just had a conversation about with the young people at State Fair the other night, on Monday night. Shout out to everybody who was on that show. And
Yeah.
we heard a lot of different opinions about, what we need to do. We obviously have an issue with our young people. I read an article by James Causey in the Journal Sentinel about how we are failing our young people. So it's kind of like we're to blame for what they did, how they behave, not what they did at State Fair, but how they behave. And shout out to James Causey. He's been on here. I interviewed him once before. He didn't really, I thought he was going to big up us in the Journal Sentinel, but he never showed no, he never showed no love back to me. But it's all good, man. I'm an outlaw. I get it. But so what this is years. I think it was 10 years ago there, and this is even when I was actually teaching for MPS. There was a report that came out that said there were school systems, and Milwaukee Public Schools were one of them, that disproportionately disciplined black kids for the same offenses that white kids committed, except they didn't get suspended at the same rate. Like, right. So It was basically saying that the black kids were being treated more harshly for for the same things that white kids were getting like a pat on the wrist for. Just
I'm
like
with
in the
it.
court system where we see black defendants being convicted at a higher rate than white boys for the same crime. So I guess now since Trump went in and changed the law, the 1964 Civil Rights Act that say
Yeah.
now you cannot use race. You can't use race to determine any kind of law or policy. So you can't change your policy based on the fact that black kids are being disproportionately more affected by these policies. So they're saying MPS is still gathering data and utilizing the race reports. So they're looking at the suspension rates and they're saying, hey, we still got more black kids getting suspended. So we got to kind of come up with some policy to counter that. So it's an investigation, but I mean it's the latest in the long line of bullshit. Because if black kids and I can say when I taught school, I taught for MPS for 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I taught at mostly black schools. I didn't go to the South Side. I've never been fond of the South Side, so I've always requested I need to be placed on the North Side. The majority of the kids I dealt with were black. The majority of the disciplinary problems that I bore witness to, the kids were black. Okay. And I vividly remember because now I'm teaching special education. My solution was I won't sacrifice the entire classroom for one child. So if your kid is acting a fool, I'm putting him or her out. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your
I
ass
used
got
to do the same thing. Yep.
to go. And I remember having a very heated debate with a principal because at the time there was scrutiny behind this, and she was saying, "You realize we can't. What am I supposed to do with him? I can't suspend him. We can't do anything because he's special ed." And I said, "What am I supposed to do with him in the classroom?"
Yep.
So I
Send
tell
them
you
home.
what, you watch him, you hold him for the rest of the hour so I can teach the rest of the kids. She was, needless to say, she wasn't very happy with me. She wasn't
No,
very
they
happy.
hate that too. I was over at Travis Academy. I was the same way. We have kids. I was an assistant. We have kids that acted up. You can't have them in there because you got a class of like maybe 28, and then you got one or two that's tripping. I used to just put them in the hallway and be like, man, make your way to Miss Johnson's office. And you know what I'm saying? And then they created a room for them. You know how we used to have detention when we was in school? They actually
And
was doing that at Travis Academy for a minute. They'd have them in the lunchroom, put your head down, whatever. But that's how it's supposed to happen. I'm like, man, send them home to their parents. You know what I'm saying? That was my solution. And but yeah, you know, that don't work. They be like, oh no, no, no. So whatever.
yeah, I taught self-contained special ed, so I had probably about 20 kids, but I
Damn.
had all the worst case scenario kids. Like I had kids who were suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome,
Oh
who were
God.
born with fetal alcohol syndrome, kids
Yeah.
who were heavily medicated that had to have actually go and see the nurse in the morning and take their medication. And I was making
Oh
strides.
yeah.
I was making a lot of strides with them until our dumbass principal decided to play with my money, which is one thing you don't do with a man like me. And
Don't
so I
play with
hit it.
fair.
I left. I decided. I said I can't do this. It just wasn't worth it if you're gonna play with my money. But yeah, I mean, I had my kids. I had my kids doing pretty well for a minute. As a matter of fact, the irony of her playing with my money is like the year before she gave me so much credit for these kids' test levels going up and our
Yeah.
being a model of behavior when we walking down the hallway, when we're going to eat and all this kind of stuff. I would make my kids clean the area up that they ate in. I just had
Teaching
I
them
had a
shit.
rapport with them just to let them know people have slapped a label on you. And do you want to live up to the label or you want to prove that they can't define you? And they responded to it like, okay, you're right. We gonna act with some class, right? But the whole point of it is when you see this, it ain't. I don't think it's nothing to be alarmed about. I think the fact that they changed this law, that now you can't use race when race is a part of almost everything that goes down in this country. For the United States of America to ever make a decision that we're not going to use race to determine anything when it comes to law and legislation is dumb as hell. Or when it comes to policy on how we educate our kids, because there's differences between kids culturally. A lot of black kids come from places that a lot of white kids don't. And our culture is different from white people's culture. So you can't
Yeah.
expect it to be a one size fits all approach when you put them in the classroom. So it's just another one of these This is why it was so stupid to go and try and overturn any of these civil rights legislations that had been passed years and years ago. They were put in place because they were needed, because our country was so lopsided in the way black people were handled. That's why those laws exist. So to go in and say, we're not going to do this anymore, it just shows how stupid it was. Republicans, I'm talking to y'all.
They are dumb too. They always like to say, "Well, you don't need it no more." The reason why you always go to the root of it. Why was it created in the first place? And it's obvious. Yeah, I'm with you, dog. This administration, man, and I'm sorry, and the people that support it are even worse. The ones that make excuses constantly, I'm sorry, they're worse, man. They're actually worse than Trump. They're worse than the people that are in power. I hate to say that, but they are, because they just freaking continue to push the narrative. It's irritating.
Earl Henning says white Wisconsin been fucking over the black kids for years. Well, and also if you're a person out there, and I'm nonpartisan, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but if you're going to say, but wait a minute, a lot of those policies were passed under Democrats. I'm not blaming the Republicans for the behavior or for the legislation being passed in which they determine, we're going to make sure we look at these black kids suspension rates and try to do something about it. I'm blaming them for going in changing the law. So now we got our school system, and apparently that's what it took for MPS to pay more attention to what they were doing discipline wise. Now they're in trouble for doing what they were made to do. You see what I'm saying? Like they were made by the law to say, hey, y'all got to look at the disproportionate suspension rates here and rethink your discipline in the school. But when you're doing that, now you come in and say we investigating you because you're using race to determine your disciplinary policies. It's just stupid. It's just like, man, it's like blowing your nose to spite your face, man. I'm a funk baby, man. I'm a parliament dude. I love that. Why blow your nose and spite your face?
Are they better than Ohio players?
Well, yeah, between them two, it's your whole.
I always say that whenever you bring up one or the other.
Your whole thing, right? I mean, come on now, let's get both of them, all of the greatest black musicians you've ever heard between Ohio players and Parliament. Yeah. Mama Jenkins says Milwaukee County court official among 3 charged in the drug operation. She says she sent me the video.
Shit.
I haven't been able to see the video yet, Mama Jenkins. People, you might be surprised, not you, Mama Jenkins, but people out there listening. And shout out to y'all. People send me stuff all the time. Videos, news stories. If it's not on Instagram, it's on Facebook. If it's not on Facebook, it is in my personal inbox. So yeah, I don't get to watch everything. And sometimes people get mad at me like, you didn't see the shit I sent you. And I'm like, yeah, my bad.
You sure ain't been watching anything. You sure ain't.
I done said that shit to you before too.
What's going on?
Man, that motherfucker Trump said that he gonna have a DOJ look at having convicted felons get their firearms rights back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a Republican staple. They believe that. That's one thing about them. I give.
No, they passed it. That was the first thing. What's his name? Blanche, whatever his name is.
Yeah, they passed
it. And then, you know what? I feel like they should. You know what, man? Listen, people. This motherfucker pistol is dead. People make mistakes. I committed a crime. What was that? 2000. I served an undercover cop. 2000. And I've been a convicted felon ever since 2000. I ain't reoffended, not one. I pay taxes. I work 2 jobs. I got a federal job, you know what I'm saying, part-time, because I had to get approved through the post office, work for the city and things like that. I don't feel like I'm a threat to no one. I'm almost 50 years old. I should be a firearm to be able to protect myself and my family. You feel what I'm saying? So, but the thing about it is, it's not going to be open to everybody. Like people that got violent crimes and some other stuff they were saying. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You know, the people sending their pardon applications in, motherfuckers getting denied. You know what I'm saying? All type of shit. So now, I don't know how it's going to work on a state basis. See, that's the thing right there. Because the DOJ doing it is lifting the federal restrictions by how the state going to handle it. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a lot of loopholes and red tape through that. But I definitely appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because motherfuckers should, because before they some of this came across, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, things happen for a reason. Some came across my YouTube with non-lethal weapons, you know. And I ain't gonna lie, them non-lethal weapons, I kind of like them better than the real weapons, though, because you can fuck somebody up with them. I don't want to kill you. I want you to suffer. You feel what I'm saying? So a motherfucker hit you with one of them old, with one of those 68 grams lead slugs. I'm talking them motherfuckers big. They look like baby cannonballs. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh man, this shit is neat. And you can have them. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but like I tell my guy, and I said it before, I don't need a gun because I don't live a life that for me to have a gun. But it would be nice to be able to protect myself if I need. But see, the thing with me is, I don't feel like I need a gun in the city of Milwaukee, but I do a lot of traveling. So even if I wasn't selling, shit is different in Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. You know, I'm not a felon. I got a firearm, but in those states, you know what I'm saying? I'm traveling. That's like federal because you're traveling over state lines and all type of shit. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm definitely happy about that. You know, that's one good thing I can say the Trump administration has done to help people. You know, that's what I was saying when people were talking about Francesca Hunt or whatever her name is. I'm voting for my interests. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to own a firearm one day. Even if I don't own a firearm, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to apply for my pardon again. Even if I don't own a firearm, just pardon the felon. Maybe I want to apply for a law job or just, you know, anything. You know, you a convicted felon over some shit. And then, like I said, you know, as far as with the United States of America should be brought up on charges anyway for allowing cocaine to be smuggled in the United States. You guys allowed this cocaine to be up in there. Now, true enough, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have to sell it, but we did. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, though, you know. But I'm definitely, you know, glad to see about that. And you know, there's a lot of other things going on with the old orange guy, you know, talking about bombing, Yamin, and the guy is off the chain, though. He's off the chain, you know. He's off the chain, but, you know, hopefully, you know, and then so they said in 30 days or 39 days it take effect. So it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Just because they did it, that don't mean that your firearm rights are automatically restored. You got to go through a process, you know what I'm saying? But I don't see why I should be denied because I'm not on a terrorist watch list. I ain't trying to I don't have no explosives charge. I just had 2 little measly crack cocaine rocks, you know? Sold them to an undercover cop. And, you know, shit like that happens when you sell crack. You get caught with it and you catch a delivery charge. You be possession or delivery. But other than that, what's happening with y'all, man?
Well, hold on. First of all, when you were talking about non-lethal weapons and you were talking about the bean bags, and you know, you were saying
no, not no bean bag. You got to go look at the non-lethal weapons. They have they got different grains of buckshot. They're like big ass BBs.
Well, hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me finish what I was saying. I was about to talk about the fact that you saying they can mess somebody up pretty bad, but if you're talking about buckshots and you're talking about the different calibers of it, double-eyed buckshots which are bigger pellets than birdshot, are pretty much when you talk about damage done. A shotgun with some double-eyed bucks in it is gonna do the damn job, right? And it's not necessarily, especially from a distance, it's not lethal, but you will wake up when it hits you. And, at close range is damn near fatal in any occurrence. But I mean, I don't disagree with non-violent felons being able to reacquire their right to, you know, get firearms, especially when it comes to protecting your family and you're right in the fact that traveling with a firearm is still very convoluted and complicated because I'm not a felon. I'm a responsible legal firearm owner. But if I'm going through the wrong state with my firearm in my car without the right paperwork, it's going to cost me. It's going to cost me. So yeah, I think they need to get that shit straightened out, man. They need to really get those laws to protect the innocent, right? Because anytime I got to go through northern Wisconsin, especially if I'm going to Minneapolis or I'm going to Minnesota, I don't want to Keefy D myself. I'm just saying.
No, Diddy.
My mom used to say I ain't coming like a cabbage, all head, no ass. I'm very, very. I got my family in this car with me, and if this
Mm-hmm.
car cut off on me in northern Wisconsin, or we got to go pull over to a gas station or something, look here, Jeffro and Billy Bob, don't y'all start no
Mm-hmm.
shit. It won't be no shit. I won't have to light this motherfucker up. So, pardon my language.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying we need to get these laws. And people say, well, Kev, that's not even, you ain't left the state yet. But I'm saying I'm on my way out of state. So it ain't like once we cross
Mm-hmm.
the state line, I'm gonna be like, oh, let me throw the gun out the car. No, if I'm in Minnesota and Billy Bob and them, Jeff Rowe and them get to acting up, then I'll feed their ass too. I'm just saying the bottom line is you should have a right to protect yourself. And there should
Yeah.
be laws in
Mm-hmm.
place. And this is probably a nonpartisan or bipartisan set of legislation that should be put into places. Like if I'm a citizen and I'm not a criminal, I'm not a felon, I legally own my firearm, and I'm somewhere and somebody fucking with me and I light their ass up, I should be protected. It shouldn't drain my
Mm-hmm.
resources. And I got to spend 10 years in court and going back and forth, probably lose my job. I'm going to sit in jail. But it's one of those things where we say in the hood, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Yep.
So,
But I ain't gonna lie though, Kev. Those they got a bunch of. They got shit that look like Bushmasters. You know what I'm saying? Where you can unload. Man, listen, I'm gonna send you the link to the video, man. I'm talking about when I say the non-lethals. They to me, you can wear somebody.
oh, I've
And
seen,
they
I've
ain't
seen
never
a
just.
lot of them. I've seen the pellets, the gas pellets. I've seen a lot of them.
Yep, all of them, and then they CO2, C2O, whatever you call it, CO2. You know what I'm saying? That's what they. So
my
yeah.
preference is if I'm gonna pull it on you, I want the real thing, right? This ain't nothing like the
Yeah,
real
but
thing.
ain't nothing like hitting. If you hit a motherfucker on them slugs, though, ain't nothing like seeing a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like,
If I hit somebody with a slug out of one of my shotguns, that's gonna be a hell of an effect too. Trust me. It'll be like, man, you won't believe how far back he flew, right? And a slug is
Damn.
different from even the double-eyed bucks. You don't want no action with no slug, no 12 gauge slug, man. It's a nasty piece of work, man. It's a big metal ball. you don't
yeah, that's how them is. Them big metal balls.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck around. Let me go to the
Oh,
chat room. Earl Henning says he is only doing it because he is one helping the felons. I guess that's what he's saying. Ace said, "What it do?" I'm like, "What's up, Ace?" He said, "What we talking about?" We just kind of going around the bend, man, just running over some stories right now, Ace. It's Wednesday evening, man. It's Outlaw Radio. It's Men of Color, just a bunch of men sitting around talking. And I want to get sisters involved in this conversation because I promised at the end of the show last Monday that I was going to talk about Black feminism.
Oh yeah.
Don't talk about Black feminism. So I want to get some sisters to get active in this conversation. I know Erica Hunt is one who's usually vocal, and she's expressed some very line in the sand type comments about men and her problems with men. So I wanted to talk with sisters tonight about Black feminism and what this looks like, because I feel like we have a fracture in the Black family structure, y'all. And I'm not Kevin Samuels, right? So you won't get me on here trying to talk down on women, or I think I hear women or see women say a lot of crazy things on the internet, a lot. And sometimes it's just like when I hear brothers say crazy shit on the internet, I look at them and I say, man, that's your perspective. You have a right to it, but I think it's very funny. I think it's very strange. And I think a lot of times your perspective has a lot to do with your situation in life, because you pretty much what you see is what you get. So if you feel a certain way about certain things, it usually manifests itself in the way you live, right? So if you're a person who has difficulty in relationships, then most of the time you're single, right? You don't have anybody. And so your defense mechanisms kick in. You start to say, well, I don't need anybody. But let's be honest, who wants to be alone? Nobody wants to be alone. And that's why I say, we get down to the Black feminists, where the movement for feminism was ultimately established because women wanted to be able to make sure that they got their fair share and their fair rights, which there's nothing wrong with that, because we talk about in the workplace, we talk about just period in life, women felt like they were being subjugated and they weren't being allowed to take part in leadership roles and even in employment leadership roles. And so that's fine for you to come up with, okay, you got feminists who want to big up female rights. But then it got to the point where it became men against women. So I feel like a lot of feminists got to the point where they just hated all men because they felt like all men wanted them to stay down and stay in their place. And I think a lot of men looked at it like, yeah, we absolutely do want you to stay in your place. But there's some levels to this. My thing is this, okay? And this might make me a sexist or a chauvinist. I don't know. You call me what you want. I think when it comes to men and women, I think women should be women and men should be men. Meaning, I don't break my neck or my back trying to do everything a woman does and to try to outdo her at that. Like I can do that. I can do that. I can do it better than her. So in return, I don't it's not particularly attractive to me to see a woman who wants to do everything a man does. Oh, I can do that better than him. I don't need no man because I can do that too. I think that there are spaces and places where we both need each other, right? When it comes to how a man is supposed to be in terms of being a protector and being a provider, I think that there's situations and spaces where a man, if he's really that, he's good at it, and a woman can't do what he does. But when it comes to being a nurturer, when it comes to being a mother, and we all know the myriad of services that a mother, the roles that a mother fulfills in a home. And I say this all the time. A man will walk around saying, I'm the man in the house and I'm in charge. But it's really only as much authority as your woman allows you to have, because we know women really run the house. That's where the terms happy wife, happy life comes from. Because don't nothing make action move as it does. And when mama say, I want this or I need this done, and that's when everything gets to moving. And if you're a man, if you're a husband, which I am, and I've been a husband for 25 years, when my wife expresses something, I pay attention to it and I try to take action on it, right? Unless it's something that I deem not important, and then I'll be like, whatever, right? Like, because I'm also not a man who's going to be led around and told what to do by a woman. So I wanted to talk about Black feminism tonight because I think that right now our perspectives on each other is kind of affecting, and this is why the kids are so crazy, right? Like we say, what's wrong with the kids?
Yeah.
What's wrong? Because the Black family structure is broken. And so I wanted to talk about it tonight. Let me go to the chat room because I see Carrie. I'm glad Carrie Walker Jones is here. I'll start with Earl, who's triple OG of our outlaw family here, saying
He really is.
that pussy costs more than dick. Well, we ain't talking about cost of it right now. We're not talking about cost of it. I don't know which one costs more, but I know which one has more value. I think. I think that since a woman can actually have a baby, and that's kind of like the canal into life, the birthplace. I think that has more value, but that's not to say it's better or that she should dominate. It's just saying there's a lot of value to it. I'm a heterosexual male, so I will never say that ain't shit. No, I tell young dudes this all the time. You spend 9 months trying to get out, but you spend the rest of your life trying to get back in. That's the way it goes when it comes to men.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Carrie says a lot of women are just tired of the BS and not wanting to be alone, but content with not trying to raise somebody's grown ass man child. Okay. Ace Cooley said the mother's role in the home is crucial to the infrastructure of the home. Absolutely. That the woman, hey man, listen, man. Your home is a house ain't a home unless it got that. A lot of times, unless it got that touch of a woman. Mama Jenkins said, "KB, I'm with you. I keep my peace with me because these motherfuckers are dangerous. I don't want to hurt no one, but you got to protect yourself nowadays." She said, "These young people don't fear nothing. Let's look at that 18-year-old girl that killed that 44-year-old woman Monday on the South Side. These kids got guns and will take your life. I don't mess with these young folks. That's why I got me a good piece of steel."
Damn.
I hear you, Mama Jenkins. Hey, protect your neck, as Wu-Tang said. Who is this? This Ace Cooley. He said, "Why you always got to say nasty shit, Earl?"
That's funny.
And life, what he said, because I'm a nasty motherfucker. But I mean, I'm not even talking about sex. I think what Carrie said was very crucial. That a lot of women feel like I don't have time to raise. I don't have time to raise nobody else's son, right? Okay, let's talk about that. Let's ride with that statement because that came from a sister in the chat room. I would agree with you. I wouldn't want to be with a person that I had to raise like a child. But I understand that when you are in a relationship with somebody, there's a level of compromise and there's a level of cooperation in which sometimes you may have to assist them with some of their issues. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to raise nobody's daughter, but that's not to say that there might not be an issue that my wife would have to deal with that I'm required to assist her with. I don't consider it raising her. I would consider it, hey, this is the person that I'm with. You want them to be as strong as you can as they could possibly be. So I hear a lot of women saying they tired of the BS. They're tired of the BS. I can tell you for a fact there are a lot of men who are tired of the BS as well.
Yep.
But I don't see them saying, but I'm done with women, because what else are you gonna do, right? Like it's one of the things where you say you can't live with it, can't live without it. At my age, if I know a brother that I'm cool with and he don't got no woman, it's very suspect. If he's not dealing with any kind of women, and I'm asking him like, man, what's happening, man? Oh man, I don't mess with no females. I get tired of the BS. I don't need no woman, and I don't need to be. And I'm looking at him like, bro, you do need a woman in your life. You need to interact with women. You need to talk with them. You need to conversate with them, and that ain't no word. You need to converse with them. You need to be involved. Like especially black men and black women. I don't think anybody needs each other more so than black men and black women. So when white feminists were speaking out, they were speaking out against white men because white men so cold that they wasn't messing with nobody, even their own women. They had their own women subjugated. Y'all ass don't got no rights either. You gonna sit over there with them niggers, right? Unless one of them say something to you, then we gonna burn their town down. But I'm just saying, so when they established this, they were fighting against the white racist power structure as well. But a lot of black women looked at it and said, you know what? These are men full of shit too, because as you know, being a member of the oppressed party, you did have a lot of men who were bringing up all the stress that they faced out in the world, bringing it home, and they was treating a woman and their family accordingly because you couldn't get it out there. So when you came home, you wasn't taking no shit. So I can understand, but I think sisters move to be equal, looked at and say, hey, we need to be treated equally, shouldn't have mixed with white feminists. Right? Because it started to make a lot of sisters say, I don't need no man. I don't want no man. And believe me, when you got kids, you need a man. And men, if you got kids, you need a woman. It takes two of them to raise children. Like, that's why it takes two people to make them, because it takes two people to raise them. And there's a lot. If my kids had just been raised by me, by myself, with no feminine, Lord have mercy. Let me get myself one of these. That'd be horrible. Because I'm a man. I'm all 100% masculine. I don't have any feminine sensibilities, and I don't pretend to. So my daughter would be just messed up, and my son would be overly tough. So just having mom here to equal out, right? Well, so to equal out, for her to be able to inject that nurturing into them, and the gentle nature of a woman and the loving part of a woman that you should really appreciate. I'm grateful for that. I would never say I could have did this shit by myself. Yeah, we probably would have survived, but ain't no telling what the hell my kids would have been like. So, I'm never one to say, well, I don't need this. You don't need this. What you don't need is somebody who you're not compatible with. What you don't need is somebody who's toxic, somebody who refuses to change, somebody who has no accountability for their own personal misgivings. You don't need that. So don't say you don't need a woman. Say you don't need a toxic woman. You don't need a woman who's going to manipulate you or use you or exploit you.
But that's where the generalization come in, okay? Be like, I be on a lot of that stuff and them sites and everything, and I be watching it. And I'll be honest with you, man, the level of ignorance and unintelligent banter is wild. And black women get shit on so much. It's actually kind of disturbing, but but it does make perfect sense, though. I completely understand it, because educated, you know what I mean? They can make their own money. In addition to making their own money, so many black women are beautiful. So you're going to get the hate from that aspect of it too. And also, when you can create life, you can give birth, you're going to get a lot of it. You're going to get a lot of hate from these motherfuckers. So I do get it with the black women shit, but I just think it's just such an unintelligent position to generalize. All women ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna get you a toxic person is just a toxic person. Because in my family, because I posted a video where this one sister was talking about, well, if my man he having issues financially, I'm gonna hold him down, and if I got $1, he gonna get 50 cents. But when I'm listening to it, it wasn't surprising because I got women like that in my family that are married. You know what I'm saying? Like none of it was shocking. Like I was reading the comments, like, man, more black women need to be like that. I can name 25 black women in my family that are like that, as I'm pretty sure you can too. That shit weird, bro. And black women just get targeted a lot, I think, and I think it's very unfair because I'm like, none of it's true. Like my sister, she been married for 15 years, successful. Husband is a good guy. She's a good woman. Just normal. They raise their kids. My niece is in college. My other niece is about to go to high school. Nothing weird. No violence. None of that dumb shit, bro. So I'm with you on that shit though, KB. It's annoying because most sisters that I know personally, they got their shit together and they're not toxic. And the ones that are single, they just haven't found anybody yet.
Well, that's okay. So when we talk about money, like, you know, and I can tell you, I've had times when money was not a thing. I'm doing very well financially. Like, okay, I'm cool. I got this bread in my pocket. I'm straight.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been up, you know, and then whatever was needed in the household, hey, here, boom, let's make it happen. But I've also had some times where my ass was broke as a joke, right? And my wife stepped right in and held me down.
Exactly. That's normal with a normal woman.
Caller, I need you to turn your device down. And I didn't never look at it. I didn't never look at it like I'm playing her or I'm pimping her. I looked at her like, man, I surely appreciate the support. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, that's what I would do. But that's what marriage is. So anybody and you see a lot of people, I think the worst thing that I ever seen in my life was taking advice from someone who has no one. Yeah. So if you got a best friend, if you're a man, you got a partner, if you're a girl and you got I shouldn't say girl, you're a woman and you have a friend and they don't have a significant other, they should not be allowed to give you advice. Nope. You have no man. You can't tell me shit. You don't know. You have no, girl, I wouldn't, or man, bro, I would. Bro, shut up, man. It's like
shut your ass up. What dudes you wouldn't do.
A lot of times, dudes who don't got no car know the most about cars, right? Like, so you get you a little bucket and they see you drive and say, oh man, I seen you went and got you a whip. Man, you should put this, that, and the third on it. Or is that got this under the hood? They know everything about that car, but they don't have one. Therefore, their advice to me about my car does not register. I just look at them and laugh and say, yeah, okay, you know, that's your opinion. I think this is Ace on the line. Is this you, Ace?
Yeah, what happened?
What's up, Ace? What's popping with you, man?
Chilling, man. I'm listening to y'all, man. Y'all saying some good shit though, but y'all got to start you got to let them know the truth, man. Because I mean, you go ahead and pick it back off what you said. Yeah, the women. I don't know if they trying to impress us or they trying to impress other women. But the problem is, though, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like sometimes the ladies are standing too close to the hoes. Does that make sense? So it's hard to tell who's who because they both against it. But at the same time, you get a woman that'll, they'll see your wedding ring, right? They'll see your wedding ring, and they get a thrill out of trying to fuck your shit up. You know what I'm saying? So it's shit like that we dealing with, man, and that's the toxic part of it. Or they can't deal with the nigga that's the work in progress. You know what I'm saying? But he's on his way to college, or he's getting ready to do some things. They ain't looking at his potential. They want him already ready built, and they'll pass him by. And then when they see him later, he with somebody else, and so now they talking to him like he crazy. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, man, be patient. Everybody's a work in progress.
I think that you ultimately become a victim of what you choose, because if you like you talk about men being a work in progress. So a lot of times a woman will say, I ain't got time for no man with no potential. I need a man that got it right now. I don't have time for a man that don't got no money or status or whatever. or no career. So they bypass the brother that's working, trying to build, for the brother that's already established, only to find that the brother that's already there doesn't value you because he already
Correct.
had it and
Correct.
he felt like you brought nothing to the table to contribute. So you gotta be careful. I think ultimately who we choose and who we choose to be with is a reflection of our own personalities a lot of times. And then it's like brothers want, oh, I want this big booty girl with this body and this sexual freak in the bed and all this kind of stuff. And then you get her and then you mad at her because how she dressed or how she carry herself or she end up
Yeah.
cheating on you. And then you looking like, well, I don't understand. Well, you should.
You mad?
Hey,
This man
it's
could have picked up a funky bitch. You know what I'm saying? You
I,
can't
I,
get mad if you went looking for a funky bitch.
That tiger didn't go crazy. That tiger went tiger.
hey, I was
Right.
gonna say too. Like I always use this when I talk to young women. I use my daughter as an example. My daughter's 31. She's married. They had my grandson last year. He started walking. He's 1 year old. So, but when my daughter was talking to my son-in-law, if she would have had the logic of women now, oh, she would have dumped him. He was working at a grocery store. And before anybody says anything, I'm not knocking people that work at grocery store. You'll see what I mean when I'm finished. So he wasn't doing much, doing this thing. His dad died. He was so close to him. So, he was going through something. Everybody does. So she's dealing with him. She's doing her thing. She working on her PhD now, but she had already had a master's at that point. They had been dating since high school. Cool kid. And the thing is, one day it just snapped. They've been together like 5-6 years. They've been married now for a few years, but they've been together like 12 years. And the guy like these modern women will call, his name is Ian, ironically, which is funny. I always make jokes about that. But Ian was a bum. He really was. He wasn't doing much. Just was working he's working the grocery store. Fast forward, he's an IT manager at a bank. He has like 16 banks, makes 6 figures. My daughter can just go to school now and he's the one that works. He's the breadwinner. My point in bringing that up is these women need to start dating guys that are just nice. Some of these guys are projects. It's like you were saying, KB. You try to get this guy that's already a finished project. Fuck you. You didn't bring nothing to the table. Like my son-in-law, he was a work in progress. You would have never saw it, and you would have never thought that. But fast forward, he's a breadwinner, good guy, intelligent. And I always share that with young women because they always be like, well, I when I talk to a guy, I need to be a certain way. And I want him to be able to take care of himself. When women say that I've noticed, and I'm single right now for the record, and I've been dealing with a lot of women that are single and, whatever. And I talk to them. A lot of women, when they ask what you do for a living, they just want to know how much money you make. The women that don't want to do something very simple, they want to go to dinner right away because all they really want is dinner. They don't even fucking like you most of the time. So my thing is, if for the advice to young men out there, have you coffee dates. You do it in business, have you a coffee date. And all the women that'll tell you to go to hell for trying to have a coffee date, then you've already weeded them out. And then go on a dinner date, second or third date with the woman that you really like, and it'll probably work out better. But yes, KB, I agree with you, what you just said when you were like, man, these women want a finished product all the time. Like motherfuckers that's really on their grind, that's getting their money. No, I don't want to talk to a chick that her main thing is, let's do this. Let's go on trips. Let's do this. Nah, fuck you. You constantly want to spend somebody else's money. You know what I'm saying? These chicks want to spend your money and keep theirs. It's very fucking simple.
Let me go to the chat room.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What's up, Sharita? She said, good evening, Outlaw family and friends. How you doing, Sharita? What's cracking with you? A says, shit, niggas is, hold on, what to say? Niggas is choosing
their peace, man.
Choosing their peace. They can be dangerous, bruh.
Yeah.
Earl Henny said, we need to see what she up to. He said, the Rose, she said that works for her. Once again, I haven't even approached the topic of sex yet. If the Rose is, you feel like that's all you need, then Hey, fair exchange ain't no robbery. Go ahead and rock with your roles. As a man, it never would hurt me, and I'm going back to me being single, which I'm not now. So when Ian talks about being a single man, it's funny because most of my partners who are single now say, "Kev, it's piss in the dating pool, man. These women out here crazy, man. You lucky, you got you
You
one.
are blessed.
Stay with your wife, man. These women out here is crazy. You don't want no parts of this, especially brothers that be on date naps. Like they be like, man, these women on these date naps is crazy, bro. So, but if even when I was single, if you said, hey, I'd rather just keep my rose. I don't really want to talk to a man. If I was trying to get with you, it wouldn't bother me. I would say, I'm glad you know what you want, and I would keep it pushing.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah, fuck them.
that works for you, hey, go ahead with your rose.
Do your
Uh,
thing.
Carrie said, I think men overrate the dating pool for women. These men, young and old, are coming with a lot of baggage. As a man, your friend may seem to be a stand up guy, but as a woman, your guy's full of shit. But he ain't gonna tell you that. Well, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character, right? And so,
Yeah, I don't buy that. She has a point with certain people, but nah. Sometimes, and women have it on their dating apps sometimes that um fuck you and your coffee dates. Take me to dinner, period. That just shows you're transactional. So yeah, and you have a lot more of that, like, but I mean, obviously, she can speak from a different perspective though, because I'm not trying to date men. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, yeah, she might see it from a different end. I don't know.
Mama Jenkins says, in a good relationship, you have to have have good communication based from the get go. Relationships should not be based on bedroom actions. It should be a give and take and sharing. That's where choices come in. Every
Yep.
woman need a man, and every man need a woman. But think about James Brown. It's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman, boy or girl. 45 years for me, and I love my husband. That's what's up, Mama
That's
Jenkins.
a blessing,
You
though,
know
man.
what, though, Kev?
So
Hold
for
on,
You know what, though,
let
Kev?
me finish with this chat room, Ace. Give me a second. Carrie says any good woman will hold you down, but there are a lot of men that can handle that maturity and not resent you for it. There are not a lot of men that can handle that maturely and not resent you for it. Yeah, I mean, I guess if a woman holds me down, that makes me appreciate her more. So I don't know why I would resent her for it. She said I've dated down, and them motherfuckers wanted to stay down, but they pretend themselves to have some goals, the same goals that you have. And then I have, hold on, I got a couple more comments. This is Earl. Earl said Wendy's, like so he's going on. He's taking his dates to Wendy's. So to carry like dating down, like I mean, obviously, if you get with a person and you see some flags, and you say, you know what, this is something I'm concerned about, and you voice
yeah,
that person, and you see if it's really what you thought it was. But that's why you shouldn't hold back, and you shouldn't keep going. If you see something that has you already concerned, you should speak on it. You should say,
yeah,
hey, this is an issue for me, and you should be say I'm willing to not deal with you if this can't be fixed, as opposed to saying, well, I knew it, but I just thought he'd get better. You thought he'd get better. You
that's
hoped
a
he'd get,
problem. That's
but
a
you need to
problem.
you need him to get better, or you're not going to be able to continue with him, and then show him by cutting his ass off. Now we know we got some crazy, fatal, flawed ass dudes out here right now, so you got to be careful. But that's why you
You
also have to be really watching out for those flags.
in some of these cats too, because I talk to a lot of young women in my family, and they be like, some of these dudes are so emotional, but you can tie that to something else. And I've heard people say, well, Ian, these dudes are they raised by their mamas, so ain't no man in their life. That might be part of it. I can understand that aspect of it. But with that said, too, though, I refuse. I don't care the negative experiences I've had that I've been through a divorce. I'm not gonna sit here and generalize women, and that's why I like that you brought this up, bro, because I think that when you're a man, you have to have you have to be balanced emotionally. And honestly, it is a lot of good women out here. You might not find them. Like for instance, you could be in Wisconsin and the woman you supposed to be with could be in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? It just depends. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So, but to generalize, I think that shit is low hanging fruit. I think it's wrong because most of the people that I meet, just in life in general, are pretty moderate thinkers, politically and otherwise. And when you meet a lot of women, like sometimes you might meet a woman that's married that you got a good vibe with, but she's married. You might see her at the grocery store, or she's at a cell phone store trying to get her phone fixed. And you just having a good conversation with her, and then she just mentions her husband. You like, damn, I can't talk to her, but that's how things are sometimes. So you just got to keep faith in God. I think if you just keep God first, he'll send you someone if that's what's meant to be. And if it's not meant to be, it's just not meant to be. But yeah, you can't generalize people for, what I'm saying, for some women, like, because the negativity dominates the internet, because negativity gets clicks. Positivity is not getting no clicks like that, so it is what it is.
Hey, she was trying to jump in here. I want you to be able to express your thoughts.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, man, and this is, the old school thing, and I used to love it, man. I watched my grandparents. They're like a perfect example, man. And see, that's what people try to look for. But nobody wants to build anymore. You get what I'm saying? They built from the ground.
A lot of people don't.
Yes, I mean, they built from, she was a school teacher, man. Dude worked in construction, and, they built their life. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, man, it's like, well, if you can't do nothing for me, then, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? But, when it comes to coffee dates and things like that, that they're not going to, I mean, you guys, obviously that's a red flag right away. You know what I'm saying? But, I've even run into the girls, back in the day. This is because I was just an asshole back in the, I was arrogant, six pack, big chest and all that shit. They make a little money. So you ask them a question. Take away your money and take away your pussy. What you got to offer me? You get what I'm saying? And it's just like, you'll find some people get offended by that. I'm just like, that's a real question. Because at the end of the day, I need somebody who's going to inspire me. I need somebody who, I can talk to, communicate with, give me ideas who I can, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I believe what you want and what you need are two different things. And
I get that part.
I'm saying,
I get the 80-20 move.
A lot of people have problems kind of figuring the difference out between those two things, because they feel like a lot of times what they want is what they need. There's two totally different perspectives. So you feel like a woman feels like, well, I need a man with money, all right? But based on your personality or how much financial help you actually need, is that what you really need though? Because if you really broke, you struggling, and you need a man with money to save you, when you get with him, you're going to be dependent on him. So be prepared to be manipulated and dominated, and pretty much told what, when, and where you should do, how you should do it, and when to do it. And then you're going to be uncomfortable. Like, just because you got money don't mean, well, yeah, it does, because this is what you wanted, but it ain't what you needed, because you still need to be an individual. You still need to be free. You still need to be respected. So, you want a man with money, but you don't necessarily, because you could meet a man that makes a modest income and still live a very happy life and still be be free and be able to move. And
it's not all about money. Yeah.
No,
I agree.
Sex, like, it's
to them it is.
Well,
I mean,
to some of them that are like that, yes. And we've all run across.
I'm like, it's funny for me, because you look at the ones that weaponize their beauty, and don't realize, I'm like, shit, you're going to get dogged, because that only goes so far. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see this problem a lot with pro athletes, right? You see a pro athlete, he's a first round draft pick.
Oh, yeah.
He got this big, huge contract. And then he said he got married over the summer when they come back for training camp. And then they show this beauty queen on his arm. This woman, she's super fine.
Yeah.
And you know damn well, looking at him, like, if he didn't have a pro contract, there's no way she would ever talk to him, right? And they married, they have kids throughout his career.
3 years later,
he gets hurt, he loses his contract, whatever. He getting divorced. And most pro athletes say, you know what broke me? I did well with my money while I was playing. What killed me was my divorce. When I divorced my wife, that's how I lost all my money. So, but men still, and I'm not Kevin Samuels, and Kevin Samuels was very controversial.
You seen what happened to Marcellus Wiley? You seen what happened to Marcellus Wiley, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know all the
Yes.
details, but I know what
She lied on him.
headlines were.
Basically, she lied on him, and then tried to get half. And then I look at the shit that Dak Prescott. And I'm like, man, I was like, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
You ain't
I,
getting shit. You can't sign these prenups. You can't get nothing because ain't no guarantees you're gonna be with me. Because at the end of the day, as a professional athlete, as a successful man, you are a target. You are a target. Man, the crazy thing is, Kev, and this was 2 days ago. I'm listening to some shit on YouTube where the woman, this man had a $200,000 life insurance policy. Dude, the lady went and poisoned this nigga. You know what I'm saying? She poisoned this nigga. And the only reason she got caught is because she tried to hit the homeowner's insurance policy. She set up these cats to rob the crib, and she set up cameras. And then, called the police on these motherfuckers, right? And the police was like, "Hey, we got cameras, we got footage of you robbing the crib." And she sent it in. He was like, "What?" He's like, "She the one told me to do it. Matter of fact, she the one that killed the husband and all this shit just came up." I'm just like, damn. I'm like,
wild work, man. Wild work.
You got to be careful.
Mama Jenkins in the chat room says, when I met my husband, I didn't like him, but I learned to appreciate the things that he taught me along the way. He's from the South, and I was a fast city hot girl, but my mama always said opposites attract. I was a woman that wanted everything right, but then I was told by him that I needed balance if I wanted a life with him. I learned early, and I had a great job and many boss men, but they were not my choice of picking. We grew together. Yeah, I mean, my wife had told me plenty of times when she first, encountered me, she didn't like me because I was loud.
That's a beautiful story.
I was loud.
Go ahead, Mama Jenkins a 10.
And I was, but once again, I think this is what people need to realize too. If you dealing with people and if you had 7 or 8 failed relationships in a row, you got to look around at some point and say, what am I doing to bring this about? Right.
Like, and it is something you're doing. Yep.
You are a common denominator, right? Like,
yep.
So, sometimes you got to look and say, you know what, maybe it's me. Maybe I got to figure out, maybe I'm just looking for love in all the wrong places. So, I'm not.
That's a good song.
I don't try. That's why I don't try to give people advice on relationships, because I think it's about the individual.
Yes.
How well do you know yourself? This is what I tell people all the time. Stop going out looking for this magic prince or princess, right?
It doesn't exist.
To be a fairy tale. Most people realize after, and I don't care how big and beautiful your wedding was or is, most people realize after that wedding is over, the relationship sucks. So you see people get divorced like a year later, like, damn, y'all had this big.
Yeah, because they think everything is going to be a fairy tale, and they don't realize like life is life. Like life is real.
No, they don't realize it's work, Ian. It's work.
It legitimately is work, man. And it doesn't matter, like, no matter who you're dealing with. Like KB said it earlier, sometimes you're going to deal with somebody that they're going to have issues, just like you have issues. You have to be an understanding person. And like I said, if you can just keep God first, and you can kind of, I don't want to say be a pacifist, but as far as be compassionate, I think you'll do well. But you got to have the right person. Unfortunately, if you have that mentality and you just still have the wrong person, you're going to question yourself, and it's unfortunate because it's a lot of good single women out here. It's a lot of good single men. It'd be nice if everybody could meet each other, but that's just not realistic. So God willing, you find your person, but if not, keep searching.
Carrie Walker Jones in the chat room, she says, for example, my husband was attentive, kind, caring, and loving in the beginning. When I started seeing red flags, I tried to work with him and try to help him work things out while he falling short. I was moving forward financially and mentally. The more I understood, the more he resented me. The more I obtained for us financially, the more he fucked off. That was mentally and physically draining, and I had to bail. Not without him trying to leave me with nothing. I got away from him and hold on. Let me bring this back up, y'all. Y'all know I'm horrible sometimes. This chat room, my Ron Burgundy ass.
We can't see it either, actually, if you look in the
Okay, so
comments.
it cut off. Okay, and then she says, "That's where women are at when we get to the point of I don't need a man. It's self-realization." Sharita Shark said, "Good talk, y'all." Well, I'll tell you this. And here's the funny part.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is what I know as a man. When you meet a woman talking all that shit about she don't need a man, and I'm pretty sure women will say the same thing about a man, like vice versa.
Yeah.
You've ever been, you out, you meet a woman, you talking to her, and she's, I don't need a man, and I don't need a man, and I don't need a man, but you are a good dude, right? You straight up cool with who you are, where you at, you're about your business. What you're gonna learn is then it's gonna turn into her pursuing you and trying to be with you, and you're gonna be saying, wait a minute. Cause she gonna be mad, like you act like you don't even care, and then you ain't call me, and I was gonna be like, "Yo, you told me you don't need a man, you don't want a man." But she's gonna be like, "Well, I wasn't talking about you. You a good dude." That's why you gotta be careful what vibes you put out. Just like any dude who talk all this shit about he's a player and the right woman will have you head over heels, right? You will be doing what she says. You'll be giving what she asks you for. And I can say this because I know the way we came up in the neighborhood, and I came up in the 80s and the 90s. During that time, misogyny for us as young black males was very prominent simply because the crack epidemic created a scenario where you had neighborhood dudes who had access to a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they could fulfill some of these women's desires right away. She got the designer everything. He put her up in a nice house. She's wearing the best everything. And you sit there just trying to come up and figure it out.
Yep.
And you ain't getting no action because she don't want you. So a lot of brothers started to resent sisters and say, we don't love these hoes and all this.
And that was wrong.
And so, but that's what I'm saying. We came up during that time where it was like really, you was in a relationship, you was a mark, you was soft, you was a simp,
Yep.
And so I kind of had this title around my waist. Like I feel like I ain't going. Like I'm a player for life. I was on that Too Short. We was like, nah, we don't do no girlfriends. But I tell you what, when I met my wife, all of that just melted away. It wasn't even none of that from the start. I was like, you know what? Oh no. And my mother even said, "Oh Lord, thank God you found somebody who ain't gonna deal with your bullshit." That was the first thing my mother said to me. Was like,
"You grew up,
right?" But I'm saying, but it took me to meet her for that to happen, because I had it too. So when you see these people out here with their defenses up, and the defense mechanism is to say, "I'm tough, I'm hard, I don't need anybody, I can take care of myself, leave me alone." But if they meet the right person, those are the people who love the hardest. So, you'd be like, "Oh shit, well, I thought you didn't even want no man." And then a lot of women will get mad, like, you playing games. Well, no, I'm going off what you told me. Earl Henning in the chat room quoting Too Short. He said, "Bitch."
Earl be getting me laughing, man. That dude's crazy as hell, man.
Oh man, Earl is something else, man. Mama Junior said my wedding was at the courthouse. We stopped at McDonald's, got 2 apple pies, and came home, made coffee, and he changed and went to Home Depot. But my home was paid for in 10 years, and I can go out and eat a steak anytime I want. You got to have a goal and consistency on what you want. Yeah, I got married in the church. It was a cool wedding. It was cool, and everything was lovely. But I tell you what, my first 7 years of marriage was the hardest 7 years I used to tell anybody, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I've been through some shit. So I would be like, this is the hardest thing I've ever encountered. But eventually it smoothed itself out as we got to know each other and got to really deal with each other. So, it is some gold at the end of the rainbow. Now I got another caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This Carrie Jones.
How you doing, Carrie? Welcome to the phone line. You always in the chat room. What's popping with you? How you doing?
Oh, nothing much. I just decided to call in because I don't think I'm getting my point across too well.
Okay. Well, what's cracking? Let us know. Put us up.
It bothers me kind of to hear people say that women are giving up on men or giving up on relationships. I don't think it's that. I think it's just kind of an exhaustion. You get tired of the same game and the same thing happening over and over again. And like y'all said before, it has to be something that you're contributing to. So at what point do you stop? Do you reevaluate yourself and say, well, look, I have to put something into me. I have to figure me out. And I think that's where a lot of women are coming from when they say, I don't need a man, because they're so into trying to figure themselves out and they see that it's working. They don't want to revert back. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. I think it's really all about developing yourself first. Before you really shouldn't jump into a relationship when you got a whole bunch of stuff you trying to figure out for yourself, right? Like, because you can't really be somebody else's anything if you ain't nothing to yourself. I get that. But what I guess the reason why this even came to be something that I chose to discuss on the show is because I see so many what I call man bashing women, so many male and so many women who just speak down on men, and also even to the point where I feel like there's a rise in lesbianism right now, because you got a lot of women who jump fence and start messing with other women only to figure out that those are some of the most dysfunctional relationships on the planet. So
they can't.
Women are worse than men. I watched my sister go through that. Women are worse than men.
The crazy thing is, Kev, is that the leading when it comes to domestic violence is lesbian relationships.
Yeah, women are worse than men. Yeah, I watched my sister go through that for years, and I'm like, you had it better when you had a man. What's your problem? Yeah.
Well,
you can't deal with yourself, man.
Like in all of this, for me, I keep telling people I'm a person that loves black people. I love my community. I'm a proud man of color. I want us to win. I want to see us rise from the ashes, right?
Right.
But I think a big problem that we have right now is that black men and black women are not necessarily on the same page. And it shows because the black family structure is a fraction of what it used to be. And like my parents were older, right? Like, so my parents, both from the South, were older. Like, now my mother was nobody's punk. And anybody who knew my mother, if I got any family listening, any friends I grew up with, you can chime into the chat and say, yeah, Miss Burns was nothing to play with. She was nobody you wanted to mess around with. But my father always was respected and treated like a man. Like, my mother might cuss my father out, threaten him, do whatever she said. But when he came home from work, his plate was fixed and the house was cleaned up. His clothes was washed. If he had something to do, and my father was a preacher. So if he said, well, I'm going to preach on Sunday, my mother look at it and say, well, I'm going to get you a new suit. And I don't care if she was pissed at him. I don't care what was going on between them. She always respected him. And she didn't come off as like he was dominating her or she was getting punked out. She was just there to have his back. If he ever was in a situation where his money was funny, my mother, all of a sudden, she got a job. We like, Mama, you got a job? Yeah. She'd go to work. And then, she was sick. So
that's what friends do, though. They was friends.
Right. So, right. But they was husband and wife, and they both understood.
Yep.
Our two children and our household is bigger than any little quips and qualms we may have. It's just like I say right now, when I've dealt with anything with my health, everybody knows I had this back thing. My wife stood in there like a soldier, but she could have looked at me and said, "He an asshole." How much shit I done dealt with this dude, but she stood in there, and so I didn't look at her like, yeah, that's it. You better have got your ass over there and did that, or I didn't feel like she was being a punk. I felt grateful, like, man, I'm so glad this girl held me down because I was on my ass. My back was, they took a part of my vertebrae out. I was on my ass. I couldn't do nothing that I used to do. So you want to look for somebody who you can deal with. And everybody has something. I don't care who you are. You ain't perfect. I know you think your shit don't stink. Nobody's perfect. Yeah. You got to be able to get with somebody that you can deal with their issues. So if he has mama or daddy issues, you got to be able to say, well, I can deal with that though. That's not a deal breaker. So That's just my
But
perspective.
see, even when you do, you have to have a person that's willing to change themselves or even look at themselves. Because my ex-husband, it was just probably yesterday when he finally admitted that he was the reason for the separation and divorce. All up until then, Kevin, he blamed me for it. And I legitimately, anybody that knows us will tell you, I put up with a lot. I tried to, help him as much as I could. I tried to make sure everything was straight. Kids, everything fell on my shoulders. So at what point do I save myself? Because he wasn't changing and he was actually getting worse. So it just got to the point where I just had to get up and run.
Yeah, I don't see, and I don't fault anybody for being in a relationship that they felt was no longer healthy for them to be in. I'm more or less focused on all of the anti-woman and anti-man talk that I hear.
Yes.
And then when I look at single parent homes, because I've even seen a lot of black men and some black men who I have respect for blaming the issues that young men have on single mothers, right? Like, so they say, yeah, the hood is messed up because you got all these single black mothers and they don't know how to raise these boys and all this. And I'm like, well, I don't think we can blame all of this on single black women. If a man has left and he refuses to do his part and she does what she has to do to raise her kids, I don't think you can blame her for it. I will say that a lot of young men who come up around all women, a lot of times without any kind of masculine energy around them, are very effeminate. They're very feminine because women are emotional. And so anytime you see a man that's highly emotional, like a man who cry all the time but say it's because he was mad, yeah, you was raised around a bunch of women, was you? Because you couldn't cry around my daddy. Like my dad, like if he was at, I mean, it depends on where we was at. Now, if we was at my grandmother's funeral and I was crying, he wasn't gonna trip. But if I came home crying because somebody insulted me or because a girl broke up with me, my father would look at me and say, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
I've done that. I actually did that to my daughters and my son. I'm like, why are you crying? We got to figure the problem out. Use your words.
Right.
You know what, though, Kev? On the flip side, dude, you got to realize that there's a breaking point for everything. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, because people go through things. You know what I'm saying? Let's just take who was the brother that snatched at the Miller Jr. and Company and just started shooting everybody. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you go back to that feminist bullshit. I mean, when you come to these white women versus our black, because they use it for the numbers. This shit was done by design, Kev. You got to realize they made a hustle out of getting married and getting divorced. You see what I'm saying? 80% of divorce are initiated by women. And not to say, man, I don't know what your name is. You know, you had a good reason. Okay, I see what you're saying. But there's a lot of times where a man he done worked his ass off all his life and he done brought this woman into his world. You know, he wants to do everything for her. You know, but yet still he's working his ass off. He ain't got the time. He ain't doing this. He ain't doing that. And so what happens is she don't realize all that good time in the front, and initially that hit his wallet. You get what I'm saying? And so the biggest thing is a lot of women, and I'm gonna be honest with you, women hate boring ass dudes. You know, but you don't always have you don't always have to be entertained. Sometimes you got to be able to self-sustain and be cool being by yourself and understanding the role that's going on in the home. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, women do tend to go with the man that's a little bit more exciting. A lot of times,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, you know, the little dude who trying to become a plumber and he ain't really providing them thrills like that.
Nah.
And see, for the women that never been like that, we don't get the plumbers. You know what I'm saying? We get the food. And you women that really, I don't go on looks. I don't go on any. As long as you clean and you dress decent and you can work at McDonald's if you have aspiration and you got all your teeth. Yeah, that's a must.
Hold on now, too.
And your breath don't crack.
Toothless people need love too, man. hey,
they don't need my love.
You got
my love. It's somebody for everybody.
Benefits, man. Help that man get his grill fixed. Like you never know.
Somebody for everybody, Captain. It's somebody for everybody.
Oh yeah.
But you know what, Kev? You know the crazy thing. I watched some of these man, the Pop the Blooms and the tonight's conversation. Man, I done seen some wild shit. You know, and you know, like I said, I love my people, but sometimes I'm like, how the fuck do you get upstairs and you say shit like that? I wouldn't want to tell nobody I did no shit like certain. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll get women up there that's, hey, yeah, how do I keep my side? How am I talk to my husband, keep my side, dude, and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, are you not so goddamn? The problem is, really, a lot of women are fucking narcissists. Dude. And so I'm like, who in the hell told you that the world revolved around you like that, man? Because, I mean, shit, that type of shit right there, you know, that'll get somebody killed. You know what I'm saying? That'll get somebody killed. You put somebody in a bad situation. In other words, or you got another motherfucker sitting there talking about, I'm ready to leave my relationship for my ex-boyfriend. He got a baby on the way, and blah blah. So you can affect all these people. Like, you get what I'm saying? You got your ex-boyfriend. You finna affect your husband, and you finna affect the kids. You get what I'm saying? That's narcissism, bro. And you don't care.
Let me go to the chat room. Mama Jenkins said, much prayers and tears have been shed. Oh yeah. Hey, I got 25 years on the table. Trust me, it's a lot of shit. I mean, my mom used to say it's a marathon. It ain't no sprint. It's a long way. It's an album, not a 45. Mama Jenkins, respect one another and love each other in sickness and in health. That's right, Mama Jenkins. And Sharita Shaw said, that's why I hate relationship podcasts. And see, I think the worst thing that ever came to this, especially with the Kevin Samuels thing, was this one particular word that sets everybody's mental off, which is value. It is value.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, dumb as hell. A lot of people who make excuses to mistreat somebody else because of their own perceived value. Like he was talking about, I ain't going on no coffee date because I know my value. I know my worth. So what you're saying is, for me to say, hey, let's start with something small, nothing too great. Let's go sit down, have an intimate conversation.
I don't know if I like you.
Get to see if we're compatible. You say, no, I know my worth. So that means I can go and spend $300 on a meal and you're impressed. I'm going to treat you like shit once you commit to me. And I'm going to be like, girl, I bought you a steak dinner. You owe me some ass tonight. Now you put your rolls up.
Yeah,
man.
We start talking about value.
I've had those. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. When a lot of stuff that you see on the internet, if you are alone, if you're single right now and you are going to the internet for advice on how to obtain or companionship, I'm telling you right now to stop doing it. Stop doing it, because you're not going to find answers, because more often than not, the person that's talking to you is biased in the first place. So if somebody been kicked to the curb a lot, they got abandonment issues, right? And you know, we talk about women with daddy issues, but it's a lot of men with mommy issues. Like you say, mama done took care of them for so long, and they expect for your wife to come along and do all the things that your mama did, but you ain't marrying your mama. I know one of the things that pissed my wife off very early, because the first place we lived was upstairs from my mom, right? And my mother would still cook for me every day. Like, so she was like, look, she called me on my way home from work, like, hey, yo, I cooked this or cooked that. So my dumb ass would come in the house. My wife might have a full 4-course meal on the table. I'd walk right past it and go downstairs because my mama cooked for me. I wasn't even thinking about how it made her feel. Like, I'm just like, you know, my mama cooked. Like, come on down here. I'm looking at her like, girl, you better come on down here. And I was clueless. You're right. I'm not scared. I'm not ashamed to admit that.
You wasn't trying to be an asshole either. It's just you like, my mom cooked.
My mama cooked. Girl, you better come down here and get some of this shit. So one time we was sitting at the table eating, and my mother had this thing, and she would do it. She's done it my whole life, where if certain things that she would serve, like if it was a steak or if it was a pork chop or something like that, my mother would cut it up for me. And then when I was little, she would cut it and say, I don't want my baby to choke, right? But she did this, and I was a grown man with a wife, and my wife looked at me and said, "Are you serious?" She was in disbelief, like, Miss Barnes, what are you doing? My mom's looking at her like, what you talking about? I'm cutting my baby food up. And she's like, he a whole grown man. What? My mother was like, no, this is what I've always done for him. But my point was, I didn't turn and inspect her and say, well, you need to cut my meat up because my mother cuts up my steak before I eat it. I didn't expect her to be my mother.
You didn't go there. Yeah.
I didn't expect her to be my mother because I knew,
That's so
knew that my mother was my mother, right? Like that she was the love that you get from your mama as a son. You better say, you better accept the fact that that is the only person on this planet that's ever gonna love you unconditionally in that fashion.
Yeah.
You can't expect nobody else to play that role. You can't expect nobody else to do what she did. Like, cause and my mother would tell you, even when I was wrong, she would fight for me. And then when we'd be in public, she'd cuss me out and tell me I was wrong. But she wasn't gonna let nobody else know. She was always had my back. So
but the thing is, though, there are a couple of people that are married right now that found women that literally women are like that'll just have their back to the tooth. It's just hard to find. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a buddy whose wife is just like your mom, treats him just like that. Will have his back regardless. We call her a rider. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what she is. And honestly, I hate to say it, and I don't want to be a jerk, but I'm gonna come off like a jerk. Women listening, you should be like that with your man. You know what I mean? If he's like that with you, you know, obviously, if he has your back, you should have his back. Yeah, it has to stop saying that. Oh, I have a line. I have a limit. No, you shouldn't have a limit if the man is worth it and if the man has your back like that. That's all I'm saying.
Let me say this too. Now, what I realized later on as I got older and I matured is that my wife does have my back and she's held me down many times.
Exactly. Right. And she does. That's my point.
No, but one thing for me was I wasn't thinking because I was so used to, you know, just being by myself, and I thought that I would be single forever because I didn't see myself ever being in a marriage or a relationship. And that was a conversation that my mother and I would have where I would say, Mama, she said, boy, you getting older. What you gonna do? When you gonna bring a wife through here? And I'd be like, Mama, you know I ain't finna be doing that. I don't mess around like that. So my mother I wasn't even bringing no women home for her to meet. Like, Mama, this is my girlfriend. Yeah. No, you don't get to go to the crib. You don't get to meet the queen bee. You know, you are an acquaintance. So, but what I realized is she has my back like that now. Now she gonna hold me down now, regardless. She don't have to cut. I don't need you to cut my food up.
That's my point. She got your back in different ways. Like your wife is very similar to your mom. She got your back. Period. And that's the thing. Women ain't built. A lot of women, not everybody, because obviously we haven't met everybody, but they're not. I mean, your wife is rare. Your wife is rare, KB. Like, you meet women to where they'll have. If you lose your job, she's gone. If she has to pay bills for about 8 weeks, she's gone.
I'd have been solo a long time ago because I don't
know. That's my point, bro. Like you have yourself what they call a 10. You got a dime, and you know that. With that said, though, people always talk about half the marriages end in divorce, but half the marriages stay together. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta hear Carrie's input on this. What
go ahead.
I have to disagree, Ian, because I see a lot of women that give and that are nurturing and that are caring, and all they're getting back in return is strife, and they're trying to hang in there and they're holding on, and you know they're trying to make things better, but it's just one-sided. So in that, it has to be two people given to get, and these are long-term relationships, and I don't, looking from the outside in, it's not being reciprocated. It's not, you know, what they give in that relationship is not being given back. And I think that's very unselfish of them because they're still trying. They're trying to nurture their man. They're still trying with this person. And, you know, on the real severe levels, you know, you got these men out here running around because they got options. You know, they're doing exactly what they want to do while the woman is at home, keeping the bills paid, cleaning up, taking care of the kids. Well, at my age, they ain't no more kids. They grown kids. But, you know, just taking care of the house and trying to make sure everything is straight and trying to make sure he's comfortable when he comes in. And then he done been out here doing what he wanted to do just because he can. And when it comes down to it, I've heard some of these men refer to them as stupid. You know, they've been with these women 15 years, and they're stupid. How can you call your woman that's been there by your side stupid?
Let me go to the chat room.
You know what?
Let me hold on, Ace. Let me go to the chat room.
Yeah, but he a cornball though, Kerry. That's different.
Earl said, "This is Earl again." Who said pussy costs more than dick? Earl. Nobody has talked about the value of either one versus.
I think it's funny though because he says it all the time when we have relationship conversations. It's actually kind of funny.
So my father had a little thing he used to say about that as well, but I'm not repeating it. Sharita said, Mama can be the first woman a young boy will love. And then she said, no, nigga, I'm rare. She said she's rare. Okay.
This the thing, like what Kerry was saying. Yeah, she's not wrong, but the thing is though, when you with a dude that's a cornball, that's what's gonna happen. I'm talking about mutual shit. Like for instance, KB could have been down on his luck at the time. His wife held him down, and if his wife was down on her luck, he would hold her down. That's what I'm referring to when I throw out my comments. It's all reciprocated. All this other shit, I don't generalize. That's why when you have a woman like that,
let's put this out here too, because this is something people need to know.
Yeah,
most men, and I'm not gonna say all of them, because I'm one of those people who believes in the 100% rule, which means there's nothing that is 100% true about no group of people,
and nothing is 50-50.
Most men, whatever game they have, or whatever knowledge they have about women, comes from a woman, right? Like because most of what I know about women in terms of how they function and you know how they move came from my mother. So when you start talking about how somebody behaves in a relationship, the one thing my mother would tell me all the time, and this is one of those difficult conversations we used to have when I got to be of age, where she would say, you know, most men are not as smart as they women. Women are so much smarter than men. She used to tell me nobody is better at cheating than a woman. My mother would say to me all the time, she would say, if you want to see somebody get made a fool of, look at how a woman will play a man, because she can get to the point where she damn near controls his mind and controls his perception. Like she will make him believe certain things and be moving a totally other direction away from him.
My ex-wife used to try to do that shit to me, and I was like, nope.
So her thing to me was, don't ever underestimate the intelligence of a woman. Women are very smart, and they can be very, very cold and very conniving. So she would even give me examples. She would give me examples over the years of her girlfriends and women she knew who were basically had their husband out here looking like a dumbass.
Yeah,
but he had at the same time.
But he had no clue. Like he was just walking around like everything was good, and the whole time it wasn't. So I think the fact that people speak to that, a lot of people say, well, a lot of women say men ain't shit. A man ain't nothing but a dog. He just want to be out here and he want to do this, that, and the third. Well, I think a lot of times you have to understand, and Ian touched on this earlier, it takes two to tango. So a lot of times that man is doing what another woman will allow him to do, and she most of the time is the conductor. She's the one who sets the terms. She's the one who's making things happen, assisting him with his movement. So we can't just, and I'm not saying Carrie did this, but a lot of women generalized that about men, like men ain't shit, men just cheat, they just dogs. But you got a lot of women out here who are so cold-blooded, it will make you cry. Like they would, and they would. How many men got to their son's 18th birthday party and found out that ain't his damn son.
That's fucked up.
So we talk about you. A man telling you a lie about, no, I ain't got nobody else. A woman telling you a lie about, that's your son. Here your ass is taking him. Let me get them women one of these.
That's so fucked up.
Man, listen, I know.
And
I know a bunch.
I hear a lot of men.
I know a bunch of brothers who done faced that, man. Like a brother comes, man, and damn near in tears, like, what's wrong? Man, I found out little dude ain't even mine. Like, what? That's not your boy. Boy, you done been all at the AAU tournament. Everything. That ain't you. And even some cases, dudes have paid 18 years of child support and can't get a dime of it back. And the woman be out here laughing like, yeah, his dumb ass didn't know. I didn't want to tell him. It's like, whoa, you cool with that?
That's how homicides get committed. See, right there, player.
Well, it's a lot.
You know what?
Go ahead, Terry.
My husband used to say that to me a lot. He used to say, "Oh, you can't trust women." Well, give me the whole spiel, and that was his excuse for acting like he was acting. But at the same time, it comes a time when you have to be able to differentiate between the women you had and the woman that you have now.
Right.
And when you can't do that, that's when you lose out. And I hear a lot of men say that, they've had bad experiences in the past or whatever, and they're really shooting through a good woman right now. And I'm, because I'm friends with a lot of males. And it's like, but you're doing the wrong thing with the wrong person at this time. And you can't convince them of that because they have PTSD. It's like,
and I think we said the same thing, because you got a lot of men who would say that, what I just said, and utilize that as an excuse to mistreat a woman. And you'd be like, yo, but that's not what you deal with, though. Yeah, that happens, right? Like, because I wasn't, even though, like I said, even though my mother had told me all this stuff, and I wasn't jaded by it to the point where I said, when I got married to my wife, I was looking at her sideways when she said I'm pregnant, like, is it mine? Because, even if I played with her when the baby was born, like, yo, like, I remember my kids were both pretty light skinned when they was born, right? And what's happening? And she gave me the most evil look in the world.
I can only imagine how the fucking next 24 hours were.
Oh, no, she let me know right there. Don't play with me. I'm not.
Don't do that shit, bro. It's so bad.
I'm just saying. Don't you just say that?
This nigga was on 10 toes, as the kids say, 10 toes down.
Look, my cousin, rest in peace to my cousin. Way before I had children, this is a conversation that we were having. We were sitting out on the porch, and she was way older than me. And me and her son and I was cool. So we just got to talking about, and I was years away from you. I was so far away from the whole children thing, but we just talking, and she was saying, careful, you never know what you might encounter. And I was like, I know one thing, if I ever have some kids, and as black as I am, if they come out light skinned, it's gonna be a problem. And I was just talking all this shit, right? I'm just running my mouth.
Your wife should have kicked you in the nuts. And
then when my children were born, and my cousin came and looked at my kids, my daughter, she said, "Oh, cousin, this baby awful light skinned today, ain't she?" I was like, "Oh, cousin, I'm sorry." She was like, "Oh, no."
It goes back to your theory on motherfuckers that ain't in relationships shouldn't give relationship advice. Exactly. Same kind of shit.
I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, and I was just running my mouth. And she called me on it, like, "Yeah, I thought, what happened to all that shit you said?" Because I'm walking around with my baby in my arms. I'm so happy, like, look, this is my baby girl. She's like, "Not you, that baby light skinned." And I'm like, "Oh, cuz, hold on now." So yeah, man, you got to be careful when you run in your mouth. You don't know what the hell is gonna happen, man. So.
Hey, people said that shit about my kids too, though, KB, which is funny. But then as they got older, like if you look at them now, you're like, oh yeah, them his kids. Like you should have shut the fuck up 20 years ago.
Eventually, yeah. And then I had my mama at the time, so I did the old school thing. I took both of them to my mother. I took my daughter, "Mama, is this mine?" My mother look at her, she size her up, and can say, "That's so and so nose. That's ain't so and so chin."
Yep, exactly. That's exactly how it goes.
boy, get this baby out of my face. I wish you would deny this baby. I kick your ass myself. I'm like, Mom, I'm just asking. Like that. That was my DNA registry. My mother was my own personal Maury. Like, Mama, is this me?
Hey, it's funny. My second daughter doesn't look like me. She looks a lot like my ex-wife, but her personality, and she called the show before. RJ is just like me. It's actually kind of scary. So, like when you hear her talk, she be like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's Ian's daughter." Like you can tell, like she went after Orlando. It was so bad. Yeah, you could tell she my daughter for real.
There you go already. Yeah,
I would have been stupid anyway because as they after they're born, they were born. Then shit, 2 months later, you looking at them, you like, boy, this baby look just like you. It would have been stupid of me. You know what I'm saying? But also I had to trust myself and trust her. Like I'm like, you know, she ain't that low down where she would have me, you know, out here walking around with these kids and knowing that it's some other dudes, man. But it's happened before. Sharita Shaw said
I got
no
blood
clue.
test on all mine. I don't care.
She said
I don't put nothing past nobody.
Spent 18 years and found out the kid wasn't his. Hashtag Kanye.
That shit happened a lot.
Earl said, hell, I paid the down payment, but I didn't pay the mortgage.
Oh, goddamn. Earl,
like one of my uncles, man. I got some uncles who will say some shit, and you be like, "Unc, what are you talking about?" He did. You heard what I
said? Earl be saying anything. That's
man, Earl got that old school jewels, man.
Earl sounds like he got that good package over there.
Hey, kid, be that type of motherfucker be like, "Ooh, she got a mean dookie maker on her, player."
It's something about old Southern men, man. My uncles, my father, everybody in my family. I was raised by old Southern men, and my uncles, like I got an uncle right now in Mississippi, and he come around and start talking, your eyes will pop out your head, like you know.
What is this gentleman talking about?
Because he will say anything. I'm talking about like He never ceases to amaze me. If I see him right now and I walk up to him and I say, "What's up, Unc?" His response would just probably be some crazy shit, you know. Just I thought when I had my daughter first, and I was so happy, and my uncle came up to me and said, "Yeah, you know, I see what your problem is," and I'm like, "What you talking about, man? What you know?" He's like, "Yeah, you got a little girl," and I'm like, "Yeah, nigga." I'm looking like, "Yeah, and yeah, what you talking about?" He said, "Yeah, you play too much." I said, "What you talking about?" He said, "The only reason you had a girl is because you was just too happy to be there. You smile and laugh too much. You was up in it grinning, so you smiling, so you had a girl. If you want to have a boy, you got to frown up in that thing." I said, "What you talking about?" Like, you got me with a mean mug on my face in the dark for the next couple years, trying to frown.
So you get a boy,
man. And when my son was born and he seen him, he said, "Yeah, boy, I see you finally got mad." I said, "Oh Lord, have mercy. I'm gone with that shit, man. Don't do
but you know, one thing a lot of men too don't think about is women who are single, especially the ones with kids, because I know when I separated from my husband, I couldn't allow another man around my kids. And that had a lot to do with me being single for so long after I had separated from my husband, because they were number one. I didn't care about nothing else. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, when you put children, whenever children get involved, and you talking about complications. When kids get involved. Man, oh man, oh man. Especially if I'm the type of man, and I'm like that too. If I'm not with my wife and she gets with another dude, I'm looking at his involvement with my kids with a magnifying glass. Because especially if they was little. Because
yeah, and you never really know anybody. And that's how I looked at it. Like,
so if
I knew people even if I knew people for 2 or 3 years, I still wouldn't allow them to interact with my kids, because you never really know anybody. Like, I never could get that. I never could be sure, and didn't want to make that mistake.
He says only because she had my son tested. So he said that's why he only paid the down payment. Okay. I just know a lot of times it helps for you to have elders in your life too, for people who've been there, people who know it, as opposed to turning to YouTube. I know, even at a point where when I was actually separated from my wife, and she was gone, and she's like, enough of your shit. Like Carrie said, enough of this shit. I'm hitting it. And I had an elderly neighbor who knew me from the time when my mom was pregnant with me, who lived directly across the street from us. And I was sitting on the porch in the summertime, just minding my own business. And here she come across the street. I'm like, oh Lord, here she come. She came right up. She sat down on the porch. She said, I've known you your whole life. Your mother is one of my dearest friends. I watched her raise you. I know what kind of young man she raised, and I don't pretend to be in your business. I see your wife is not here, but I want to tell you something, and I want you to understand this. Just the only thing I'm going to say. And I said, what? She said, it is cheaper to keep her. She got up and left and walked back across the street. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? Cheaper to keep her. Man, my brother started talking about child support and all this kind of shit. I started seeing my partners go through it. And the only thing I could hear in my head was that old lady saying to me, it's cheaper to keep her. And when we did finally reunite, she would look at me every time we come back. We'd be getting out the car, going to the car to go somewhere. I ain't gonna say her name, but I don't want to bust her out. I don't even know if she's still alive because I ain't been in the hood in so long. But she just kind of give me this look like, told your ass. Like it was like a wink. Like, I see you smartened up. But I don't think a lot of people consider the ramifications of breaking up a relationship when it's children involved. A lot of times you don't think about how it affects the kids. Like, even if you ain't with the mother or the father of your child, and you a baby daddy or a baby mother, I think a lot of times you don't think of how it affects the kids. But it definitely affects them when they seeing the split between mama and daddy. Especially if they got to go anywhere and see somebody with their parents together. Or like a lot of brothers don't understand, if you got a son and you ain't there for him, right? You pay child support, but you're not there for him. So you go to these Pee Wee League football games, or you go to these basketball games, and you see one of these little brothers see one of his teammates and his daddy's there. It's a special kind of relationship between him and his daddy, or it should be, right? Because I've been the dad at those football games with my son, or at those basketball games. And every last one of his friends to this day, if they see me, the first thing they say to me is, what's up, Pops? That's what they call me. Pops. I was known as Pops because if little dog playing, I'm there usually yelling and screaming and running up and down the sideline like a fool. But I can only imagine the little dude who was out there busting his ass trying to do what he do and looking at me saying, man, why my Pops don't be here like that? Why my Pops ain't out here for me like that? And it's got to mess with his head. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think a lot of times people consider the kids, because they say, I'm so unhappy that what matters is that I leave. So because I got to remove myself from this situation. You don't think about those days and times when a son needs his dad, when he needs his dad. Not that, oh, I'm his mama, I'll be his daddy. Well, you can't be his daddy. Sometimes he needs manly advice. That's why you have so many men that are emotionally immature, because they don't have that man to explain to them, hey, yo, this is how you need to handle yourself. This is how you need to behave. And this is how you shouldn't behave. A lot of them, you see them, you say, damn, he's so emotionally immature because he didn't have a man trying to show him how he needs to conduct himself. So we have to be careful.
And that was a big part of me.
Go ahead.
That was a big part of me leaving because of my kids. Like they were seeing stuff that they shouldn't see, because it was physical stuff in there too.
Okay.
And the last one, he actually, it was really severe. He actually tried to kill me. But going to court, people thought I was crazy because I went to court and he only got 2 years because I said, I just want him to understand that I deserve to live, and I just wanted to keep him away from me. But his daughters loved him. His kids loved him. So I had to grapple with the fact that, am I going to lock this man up for 10 or 15 years of their life? Or, am I going to let him be a father? I chose to let him be a father, and he did a good job at it, But at the same time, I had to take my lump and swallow,
Right.
And put my big girl drawers on and keep moving.
Well, one thing for sure, I never want to do a show. You hardly ever hear me talk about relationships. I don't give anybody relationship advice. People ask me all the time, man, Kev, what's the secret? How have you been married this long? What's the secret? And I tell them there is no secret. The only thing that's required to be married or in a relationship for a long time is that you have to actually want to be. Because at any given time, if one of us says, I don't want to do this anymore, the shit's over. So that's really the only
Yeah,
secret to it. I'm just, like I said,
yeah,
taking a look at the relationships between black men and black women. And I'm reading this article in the newspaper about, it was really the whole thing is about 10 years since the Sherman Park uprising. And I spent a lot of time because during that time I was with the Panthers, I was with the Black Panthers. And we spent a lot of time in Sherman Park in that area, in that whole neighborhood, with the how the Arabs who owned the gas station were dealing with the kids, and at one point he shot in the air, and there was fights. They were fighting in the park and all this kind of stuff. It was a bunch of stuff going on. At the same time, you had the murder of Seville Smith, and we had this gay disco rapper cop who actually did it. And was exonerated before. And so the city went crazy to the point where that gas station went up in flames. Now, take it from me. I was standing right across the street from that gas station while it was burning. Myself, my brother, Bear Me, who was on the show with me at the time, and my partner, T. Brad, who was on the show with me at the time, we were actually on the air, and someone came into the chat room and said, hey, they burning the gas station down on Sherman. So we got off the air and went down there. It was the biggest fire. I never seen nothing like it. It was retarded. And I was standing across the street and you could feel the heat like you was standing right there. And then I started thinking, like, don't they got two big ass gas tanks under the parking lot? I mean, if they decide that they sick of us and our shit and they figure out and they just blow these gas tanks, all of us is dead. Right? So I seen this uprising. I seen it up close and personal how this whole thing went. Now, the Journal Sentinel done a report on 10 years later, what has changed. And there is some positive things that have changed in the neighborhood. People are saying, there's less crime. I mean, there's less violent incidents, but crime is still an issue. The poverty is still an issue, but it's gone down some. But there's still a lot of room for growth and change. On top of this, James Causey did an article called How We Are Failing How we fail black kids in Milwaukee. And he talked about the fact that a lot of black kids come from communities where the opportunities aren't great for them. And they don't have the same opportunities to kind of elevate that other kids have in their communities. And I was reading and I was thinking, well, this is a load of shit right here because you're not really saying what the issue is. What the issue is that the black family structure is not what it used to be. Okay. Grandmama ain't grandmama no more. My grandmama was in her 90s. My grandmother was in her late 90s, early 100s when she died. I never seen my grandmother get up and twerk. She didn't know what the latest song was. She didn't know what Young Miami was saying. She was old school. She spoke in Bible verses. She talked in plain common sense. And when she gave you some advice, it was real life shit, right? So I was raised by elderly people. So I had elders. But these kids don't have those kinds of community resources anymore. You say, yeah, well, they can go and play basketball. Well, you can go and play basketball for a coach who's probably fucked up in his head, right? And you stay in a home that's dysfunctional and toxic. It don't help for you to be in a positive environment for 2 hours because you're still going to you're still going to lean towards the negativity. So to blame everybody on, we have failed our kids. If we failed them in the capacity that we have not been as steadfast as our elders were in making sure the family was intact. And I know a lot of people saying, Kev, but them old Southern men, especially them old school dudes who worked at A.L. Smith and Alice Chalmers, they had 4 or 5 families, which is true. Because, cats went to the funeral and found out they had 6 brothers on the side. But the families were held down. The most important thing to a lot of those old dudes was their family. And they'll say, man, you say, why you go and work 10, 12 hours a day for 35 years? I had to take care of my family. That's why I did it. I didn't care nothing about me. And so we got to get back to investing in the black family structure, man. And that means humbling yourself enough to know you're not perfect. You don't have all the answers. And when you get into a relationship with somebody, it's about what y'all can do for each other, not for what you can get for yourself out of relationship, out of the relationship. So if you're going into it saying, I need for him to have all the money, so I ain't got to worry about that. I think you're approaching it wrong. You need to be saying, okay, he don't got that much money now, and I'm having a little bit. Is it a way that I can motivate him to get more? Can we work together to build up a fortune that we both can say, hey, we both put in here, so it ain't one-sided? I think a lot of us are too short-sighted, and we can't get over the fact that we all like to think we're so perfect. And I know my worth. I know my value. I'm a queen. I'm a king. I should be put on a pedestal. No, you ain't, because I got news for you. People say we come from kings and queens in Africa. Everybody in Africa wasn't no king or no queen. Some of them people was just villagers.
They love to say that though too, KB. If you notice, everybody do love to say we were kings and queens. Like, nah, not everybody, bro. Quit lying.
Some of y'all was goat herders, right? Like,
yes.
I would like to agree to disagree. I think a lot of the single women these days are coming from a place of trauma, are coming from a place of exhaustion. Even the ones you hear out here bashing these men, I think that's just the bitterness that they haven't found themselves yet. I think it's just the bitterness of what they've been through. I mean, like I said, I've been looking at it from all angles, and even in my situation, and a lot of these young ladies at very young, tender ages can tell you the story I just told you, in their own words. So when I look at young women that say, "Oh, I don't need a man," and this and that and blah, they skippy, I see pain. I see exhaustion. I see that they're just giving up, and they don't think it's going to happen for them. Out here, it's almost like a monopoly. You know what I'm saying? I've been basically relying on a friend for 20 years, the past 20 years. I have a friend. I don't want to get too close to that person, even though we are like best friends. We're cool. Me and him can talk about anything, but I don't want a relationship. I don't want to be let down. I don't want to get into something that's just not going to last. I don't want to be put in a situation where I have to be responsible for somebody else. So being a person that took care of everybody else my whole life, I just want to be me. I just want to be a little selfish. And at the point I'm at now is the happiest I've ever been in a relationship or in a situationship, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think because a person is not with it that they're against it. They're just looking at where they're at and doing what they need to do to get by. And that's it.
I see your point, but I guess my point was more centered around the fact that we need to be more serious about relationships. So you have way too many more casual babies. Like you have people right now that you don't even know this person. You already pregnant. You got brothers who got babies by 4, 5 different women, right? You got women who got babies by 5, 6 different men. And so it kind of disrupts the whole family structure. We're talking about the need to develop traditional families where mothers, fathers, and children can live in a house and have a solid family structure. It contributes to the community. So my point is, one of the issues with our kids that we're having right now is that the family structure in the Black community is not as strong. I'm not denying the fact that people be in situations in relationships where sometimes it's more healthy for you to get the hell on. Because like you said, if somebody's going to try to kill me, I ain't going to be like, I would leave you, but I'm trying to help the Black community prosper. So I'm going to let you try to kill me again. Right. No, you're not the norm. You are the exception to the rule. And I would advise anybody, if your life is on the line or somebody kicking your back in every day and every night, get the hell on. Get the hell on. But I'm just saying, let's make better decisions when it comes to determining who we actually have kids by. Let's stop going after what we think we want that's really thin and shallow and trying to figure out what we need. Meaning you need to get to know yourself before you jump off into a relationship. You need to build up your own resources and be able to depend on yourself before you go out here and have 2 kids by 2 men who ain't gonna help you take care of neither one of them. Now you out here struggling, and it's just another purse snatcher that you raising. Sorry to say it like that,
Yeah.
but this is just another criminal that you about to put. As soon as he get 18, he out here, as they say. So I just think we need to just invest more, and I think it really comes into making sure we put into the curriculums in schools. Like I used to teach life skills. I taught life skills at Burroughs Middle School. And I would have conversations with 8th graders, and I would explain to the young ladies about how important it is for them to understand to take their time. I know you probably think you love this dude. You probably think you're going to be with him forever, but you in 8th grade. You're only 14 years old. In a year, you probably will never see this dude again. So you want to be very careful about going out here or letting a dude talk you into having a baby right now, or messing with a man that's too old to be messing with you anyways. He's violating you. So we need to have conversations with our kids about, hey, you got to be careful. You can't just go out here and live all kinds of ways and then expect somebody to look out for you. Now you got 5 or 6 kids and 5 or 6 baby daddies, and you looking like, why nobody won't help me? Or why I can't get no man? And it's like a lot of men are like, I don't want to be put in that situation.
And you're absolutely right. And that's why I try to keep my kids' father in their life. My 2 girls, because they refuse to have babies until somebody put a ring on it,
There you go.
But yeah, and it was because I kept their father in their life. I chose not to be bitter, even though I had every reason to be. You know what I'm saying?
Sound
But
like
I had to think about them first.
Restraining order? Man, like you try to kill me. Hell yeah, you had a reason. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you ain't
Even
do
though
nothing.
I had every reason to. But I chose to keep him in their life because I know that they did need a father.
Sharita says hell, and most of us didn't come from Africa. Sharita's FBA for real, y'all. Like she
be snapping this shit. That shit funny as hell. It's true.
I'm just saying, a lot of people throw that out there like they got, like it makes them look deep, or like they got some kind of knowledge. Like, well, we come from kings and queens. Like, nah, some of y'all come from
some of y'all come from goat herders.
Right, there was some witch doctors over there too and shit. So
Can't be you a fool.
Descendant of a voodoo witch doctor. Like, come on. She said, Carrie, realistically, everybody not gonna make it out. No, especially somebody who don't know when it's time to pull that cord and pop that parachute. I mean, you got to get going. You got to get going. But like I say, we got to stop. We got to start trying to be less shallow. We have become so shallow on a lot of different levels as Black people. We got to start exploring our depth again. Start really building up a moral compass. Our moral compass has deteriorated. I don't know if it was the crack epidemic that did it, because I feel like that kind of broke down what the community morals was. Like, at a certain point what a grandmother was, during the crack epidemic, you start to see brothers who you see a dope fiend on the corner, $5 and $40, and it's your partner's mother. You're like, damn, I just seen your mother out there selling their body for crack. Like, it started to deteriorate the morals. More great grandparents ended up with their great grandkids because the mother and father was on crack, or the father was dead or in jail. So that it just kind of deteriorated. I'd like to see us get back to that. That's why I believe in the delineation movement. That's why I believe in us establishing Black solidarity, so we can circle the wagons and get our babies together and start giving them some real options and start giving them some real understanding on how to live their life. Because when I look at a lot of them kids on that video at State Fair fighting, I'm looking at them like, y'all just out here wild savage. And I'm not gonna say we weren't, but at this point, is there any leaders? Is there any young leaders that are willing to step up and say, hey, y'all, let's freeze the bullshit. Let's start trying to do something positive. Because although we was wild, there was a lot of youngsters who were on a positive road who said, no, I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to do something better. So that's my kind of.
I used to say I was mad at the kids until I started employing the parents. And then I saw why the kids were like they were.
Yeah, when I taught school, I felt that way, and then when I got in social services and started doing home visits, I said, "Damn, no wonder, no wonder." Like,
Yeah.
whoa, like y'all knew we had a parent meeting this morning. I get here, the joint still burning in the ashtray. I don't want to hit it. I'm at work. You got to get with me when I'm off work.
Yeah.
You should have called me.
We're coming to the teacher's conference
Yeah,
and getting you help.
if they came, but that's a whole other show.
If they came. Yeah. If they came.
So
yeah, I heard one parent tell them, "This is your time, not my time. Why are you calling me?" I'm like, huh? Yeah, she told the principal that when the principal told her she needed to come get her daughter. She said, "This is your time, not my time. Why are you calling me?"
Well, I always enjoyed when a parent came through the door of my classroom with that attitude, like, "You, Mr. Barnes, yeah. I need to tell you something." Well, hold on. You ain't finna tell Mr. Barnes nothing. Are we gonna talk about your child, but it ain't gonna be no checking. I'm not gonna check you, you're not gonna check me. Because actually we should be on the same team because we both want your child to succeed. So let's have an adult cordial conversation. But I'm just saying, he said you said this to him. I did say that, but did he tell you why I said it? Well,
Right.
well, okay, so that's what I'm saying. Let's have a conversation. But I'm not, Mr. Barnes ain't getting checked. As Mr. Barnes don't get checked. That don't happen, right? So I just had to let a lot of parents understand that when they would come in my room, like, well, I need to talk to you anyways. Well, maybe you should get your contact information updated because I've been trying to call you all semester and I ain't been able to get in touch with you. So, but once again, that was my take on relationships, and I just think it's a reflection of our children are a reflection of our dysfunction a lot because the black man and the black woman ain't on the same page, and it's a lot of blame to go around. So I wouldn't want to be Kevin Samuels, but at the same time I'm not. Well, I can't remember the dude's name. Every time I used to see him, he was just, "Oh man, put the woman on the pedestal. I love just women, and the man ain't shit." And I'm like, bro, what? Just tuck your skirt, man. What's wrong with you? Right? Like you sit down when you piss. Like, and then the irony of it is I think it was maybe 6 months later he was getting divorced and his wife was leaving him. So I had to give him one of them.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So look, man, I appreciate everybody, man. Y'all know I appreciate y'all support of the show so much. Please share the show. We won't be back till Monday. I want y'all to have a good weekend. Please be safe out here. We had a road rage killing on the south side.
Horrible.
Yesterday, it's a lot of murders. The violence is up right now in Milwaukee. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if they pissed them off when they said that the crime rate was dropping. Criminals got mad. Like, we're gonna show y'all.
We're gonna show you niggas.
Let's not expect our leaders to come up with any solutions. I think that's the kind of the status quo that we see right now. We don't have any real leaders that have any solutions, right? Because they'll turn around and say, "Well, we want y'all to help us more." Wait, you the cop? You talking about you want me to help you? Shit. Give me your check and I'll start investigating some shit, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like they making like 70,000, 80,000 a year. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm actually very happy that we're able to do a show tonight and talk about us as opposed to going back and forth about Trump or partisan politics. So I'm really, really, really great to have had this conversation.
Hey, KB, I was gonna say though, I think that should be the new thing. We're talking about Trump and all the other stuff. I think the show goes a lot better when we don't talk about that. Personally, that's just me.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes it rears its ugly head.
And nobody said.
Is that your
nobody
sister?
Said Candyman.
Yes, that's her.
Yeah, y'all notice he didn't call in because nobody said his name. Right?
No, and it's funny because, like, what I'm saying? Like I was saying last show, like the stuff that I do, I just respond and I have some fun with it type stuff. But I think everybody that's listening knows exactly what it is. You a black man, you support a party that actively is trying to remove Black history. That says everything that needs to be said. I don't have to say anything else.
Once again,
I'm still going to have some fun with him.
Once again, my point was nobody said his name, so he just listened. Nope. He didn't call in and make a spectacle. So, as they say in the movie, message. And I said Aisha the greatest, Aisha the therapist. Okay.
Hey, she be doing her thing, man. I love my little sister.
So once again, man, I appreciate all y'all, man. Y'all put the batteries in my back to keep this thing moving. I'm trying to get greater. And so, you know, I'm always struggling and striving and hustling and trying to make this thing better and give it more reach. You can help me out by sharing the show, and you can hit the Cash App, and I can get some new equipment. But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, man, I'm just very happy that Black people have now more platforms to be able to express themselves, and I wish we use them. I wish we use them for more positive things than we do.
Yes,
Aisha,
sir.
she said Aisha the Great is good too.
Aisha crazy, bro. And real quick before you continue, my sister, guys, no joke, one of my business partners too. We doing some other stuff, but I gotta be honest, she's actually one of the best therapists in Arizona. Like she's been fucking written up on. She's one of the best. So I appreciate her listening to
Next
the
time
show.
when we have a conversation like this, she can give us a call and jump in here and give us some real.
Dog, no, KB.
No,
She'll break it down on an intellectual level, and you'll be like,
I love
it. Thought about it like that.
Oh, I love it. Regardless of what people might think, I'm actually a pretty intellectual individual. So
no, you are.
But peace and love, y'all. I will see y'all Monday, man. Y'all have a good weekend, man. Hug your babies, man. Tell them you love them because they need it right now. Each one teach one, man. I'll tell y'all what. If your criticism of the Black community outweighs your contribution to it, you can kiss my ass. I'll see you Monday, man. Peace and love, man. Outlaws for life.
See you Monday, dog.